shirt over the past. Has some wild haircuts. Mm-hmm. Brent's still wearing a 90s haircut.
I hate you. You want to turn this up a little bit here?
Which one?
My joint's down.
I'm good. I'm Gucci.
Hello. Okay. Yeah, interesting.
Are you already set up
Yeah.
for with the cam over there? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We got 2 cams on him now?
Yeah, well, we're testing for when we sit down with all hitches, make sure we have 4 cameras. Because we have 4 people, right? So we got to make sure we have 4 cameras. So it's just testing.
That's
That'd
dope.
be a good one.
Yeah, they wanted
All hitches, guys?
They wanted to do it at a restaurant, and I'm looking at the restaurant, and I'm like, do we have enough space in there? Because it's kind of like a boxy restaurant.
Yeah.
Right.
Real intimate.
It's that celebrity diner in Falls Church where they have a sandwich named after them.
Of course. They gonna get
What's
all
the sandwich
access
called?
there.
The Dash and Dan something.
Really?
Yeah, I have to look it up. I'm sorry, guys, if I got it wrong. My bad.
Man. We don't have a sandwich name after us. We gotta get
You
it.
gotta get with them to get with the
Yeah.
Hey, you
sandwich
gotta
guys.
remember, that's the #1 podcast now.
When I was telling them, I was like, man, y'all be cranking. Y'all at 72 episodes. We at 14, and we released 11.
We're still crawling, man.
We're growing.
still
We're
crawling.
growing.
Yeah.
But
But you
guys
all
like
also-
you make it good so we can sit down with you, right?
But you all travel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
That's a
they
little
don't
bit
travel?
harder. They
No,
just
it's
do it
all
from
virtual.
home. Yeah.
All right. Well, don't start traveling, guys. 'Cause we want to make sure we have something. Hold on.
Nah, the podcast space is big, man. Everyone's got room.
This is actually I like traveling to the podcast that we go to because it gives us an opportunity to see the facility. It gives us an opportunity, like it's your home field.
Yeah.
So I want you to feel, we want you to feel comfortable.
So more intimate too.
Yeah.
And we get different backdrops every time.
Every time. Like I like
That's sick.
That's
right
so
there.
fire.
That is so
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
The helmets are so fire.
Do you guys so a couple of the teams in the area, they have different jerseys or like where they can have like an alternative jersey. Do you guys
So
have
we
another
do a
one?
homecoming jersey every year.
That's fire.
And they're actually reversible. So I like to do whatever. So last year I actually did it for them just because new coming in. It was kind of like a last minute thing. I was like, ooh, let's do it. You know what I mean? But I had a couple seniors that's like, hey, design your homecoming jersey.
Oh,
so they can have some like responsibility, take ownership
That's
of
really
it. And when they wear it, they're like, yeah, this is what I designed.
Yeah. And do
You
they
know
get
what I
to
mean?
keep it?
Yeah.
That's
dope.
even fire.
Their names are on the back, on all
nice.
that.
Yeah.
And then the other side, I normally just do a different alternate white. So now we essentially will, at the end of the year, we'll have 4 different uniforms, 4 different jerseys.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
We don't know anything about that. It was all black at home,
Yeah.
black and white away.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know who originated the homecoming jersey, right?
Nuh-uh.
Mickey.
Oh yeah?
That was a Mickey thing. That was a Stonebridge thing.
The homecoming
The
jersey.
homecoming jersey.
What year was that?
He's always done it. From my understanding, when that school opened, that was kind of his spiel.
shtick.
That
And
makes me
then-
wonder because we had a powder blue homecoming jersey. But as you know, being a Skinner guy, Skinner's superstitious as hell.
Superstitious.
So he's like, yeah, got us these jerseys. We already had our names on the back for home. That was standard. That was a Centerville thing. And we rocked the powder blue jersey all day. Come game time, grab your black jerseys.
Yeah.
Mickey was like that, but all white.
He was super. Yeah.
So apparently, I think 2006 it was. No, 2006 when they played Hampton, when Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback. They lost the state championship in all white. And from that point on, never wore all white again.
Yeah.
Until my junior year when I moved in, we all wanted to wear all white. We're like, come on, coach. In the very first game, he allowed us to do it. It was like, if we lose, not again.
Never again. Did you guys win that
We
game?
won that game.
Okay.
So that's funny you say that, right? So the first time we ever went out, Eddie Mason, really good friend of ours, he was like, hey, I want you guys to come out and capture Stonebridge. It was supposed to be Mickey's last season. So it was 22. He ended up staying for 23. First game of the season, they're playing Madison. And they're playing at Madison. And it's a nail biter. It came down to like a 45-yard field goal for the win at the end. And as we're walking out, he pulls me inside. He's like, had we lost, you guys were done. He's like, 'cause we're on this win streak. He's like, it would have been your fault because you guys are new here.
You got to go now.
You guys are the denominator. Yeah.
Right, but they won and no issues, and they ended up going all the way to Highland and ended up losing that state semis.
Yeah. Yeah. I was very superstitious in high school because
Skinner.
of Skinner.
Yeah.
And then all that shit got killed in college. because it was, you know, it was all as much as it was physical preparation, it was mental preparation as well. So they drilled it mental reps, da 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 da.
Yep.
And after a while, you get so militant about it, you're just like, man, there is no such thing as superstition. That's just you psyching yourself into thinking that you're ready. But at the end of the day, like, you're ready or you're not ready, right? And so it's funny because mentally you had to make a shift to the next level just as much as you had to do physically. And, you know, you learn that real quick. I'm sure it's the same for someone who's on is on a coaching staff as an assistant and then gets put into a head coaching position. Did you feel that way when you made a jump from assistant to head coach?
I think I was already. It was funny you said in college you grew out of your superstition. That's what mine really built more.
Oh, yeah?
Was when I was in college. Let me tell you, if we won a game, I had to park in the same spot every day.
Oh, that's wild.
When I went to the facility, I had to park in the same spot.
That's so wild.
And I would make sure that I was one of the first people there
so
I could get my spot. And then if we lost, I had to switch it up. I went to another spot and started.
Yeah,
but that kind of grew out of me once I became a coach because I think it's a little different when you're not actually physically out there and you're not the one going through it. Now, my preparation and my superstition is about how I prepare. Yeah, but that's just more of my process than it is a superstition. And like I said, as an assistant, that just wore off on me. That it wasn't like, oh my God, I got to do the same thing every week. I got to eat the same meal and things like that. So going into being a head coach is not something I really thought about. For me, the biggest thing is how do I prepare my kids? How do I get them up to be ready to play a game?
Right.
You know, so it's more that than I have a superstition like I got to eat the same meal. I got to wear the same socks.
You got to walk this line on game day
Exactly.
3 times and then turn left, but don't turn right, like you're Derek Zoolander.
It's funny that you say that though, but you know don't split the pole.
Yeah.
Our kids are like that. So we walk up to the field for the game time, like our entrance. We actually start down here and we walk up to the hill. We got the drum line playing and all that. So obviously you got to walk past some street signs. If somebody goes on the wrong way, you hear somebody, don't split the pole.
That's funny. I think we had that. We had that at Centerville, yeah.
We were just pulling in, and I was like, oh, I hated to come in here and have to walk up the hill to warm up, walk back down, then back up to play a game. Because it's like you're up on a level.
Yeah.
But you got a gorgeous field, especially now, like the new turf and everything that you guys have up there. It's beautiful.
Here's one negative about those turfs, though. It rips these kids up.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's worse than like your old school with the black tire pieces in there. This field just rips them up. So we got an abundance of turf tape. I recommend them wear leggings or sleeves, things like that. Because I didn't realize how bad it was until I had like 2 or 3 kids last camp.
Yeah.
Getting affected. Yeah, it was bad. It looked nasty too. So it was just one of those things that looks nice. But I'm an old school guy anyways. Ask me, I want grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of coaches at the collegiate level, I know that they would prefer to practice on grass because it spares the body.
Yeah, it's not as hot either.
Yep, it's not as hot.
It gives.
It gives. It spares the body. It's easier on the kids' knees and their hammies and everything like that. And the wear and tear isn't as much as it is on turf because that turf is so unnatural and it's so unpredictable too.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, on grass it's more ankle problems, right? Than it is knee problems, but that's what you get your ankles taped for.
Exactly.
You know, but you can't expect all kids to go out there and plant the same way and not mess up their knees. That's why, like, you see more non-contact injuries nowadays than anything else. I know I know ACL is easier to repair nowadays, but I thought that the ACL problem would go away. But the more we progress into, you know, these turf fields, the more ACL injuries.
I'm a victim.
Especially in the other sports too, though.
Yeah.
Like your soccers, your lacrosses, field hockeys, things like that. Those are increasing.
Yeah, yeah. And it's crazy because these kids are getting bigger, faster, and stronger. You would expect for them to be a little bit more durable, but it's like they're developing quicker than their playing fields are developing, right?
I mean, the playing field is just it's really to save money.
Yeah.
That's what it came down to.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it can save money on paint, cutting the grass, because then you got to get a mower. You got to get the gas.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You got to get somebody to employ somebody who's going to cut it.
Yeah. You got to resod it every year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like your crosstown rival in college, because you went to NC State, Belichick came in there and ripped the turf up and put grass down on the game field. He said, no, grass.
That's one of the best thing about NC State being an agriculture school. Oh, that field, that grass was
Pristine.
beautiful. It's one of, and here's, most fields have a crown.
Yeah.
That field's completely flat.
Oh wow.
How does
I've been
the water
out there.
dissipate?
It's just how the draining system is.
Yeah.
We've been out there some days and it poured down raining all day. And you go out there and after it rains, give it 10, 15 minutes, it's completely dry.
Yeah.
And so I just, like I said, I'm old school. That grass is, you can't beat it.
Love it. Hey, love it. So you played ball at NC State. Yeah. So, and when you, my bad, Brian, did you? Yeah. And when you graduated from Stonebridge, did you have, how many offers did you have coming out of Stonebridge?
So I had a handful, not too many, because I committed, February of my junior year,
Okay.
March of my junior year. To me, it was a lot of it. So when I moved into Stonebridge, I got to Stonebridge my junior year of high school. My first 2 years was actually in Georgia. And I had a coach down there. I started varsity as a freshman. My sophomore year, I was a second-team All-State guy. So I'm coming up here kind of like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm feeling myself, things like that. But at the same time, I would say just bad advice from my coach down there in Georgia. Now, I'm not saying that it's his fault and things like that. God rest his soul, by the way. But as a 14-year-old, your head coach tells you, don't worry about school. Just worry about football. What you going to do?
Worry about
What
football.
about football?
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'll never forget the first time I sat down with Mickey Thompson. He looked at my transcript. And I told him, like, yeah, this is how it is. He was like, that's not how it works here.
Welcome to Northern Virginia.
Right.
Exactly.
Great
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Especially moving into Loudoun County at the time that you did,
Yeah.
like that was there. Go ahead. Yeah, I'll tap in later. Yeah.
no, but you're right, though. Coming in, like, here academically, Loudoun County, even in Fairfax County, academics that's a high thing.
Yep.
You know, especially like this school right here. I can't, like, all of our kids, it's hard to get my kids in the weight room for P-Fit because they got to take their APs and things like that. You know
Sure.
what I mean? But just getting to Stonebridge, it was an adjustment for sure. Kind of having moving across states and things like that, and then you going into a team. Like I said, I felt like I was the big man on
Yeah.
campus,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all of a sudden I go in there and everybody's like, "Who's this guy?" You know. So, but getting there, the environment around those guys, the best thing. Honestly, it was the best thing that could have happened because I understood the academic side of it. Practice there in Georgia got me ready to go play college football. You know what I mean? But had I not got to Stonebridge, academically, I don't think I would have been ready to go play college football.
Oh wow, wow. And so moving, and that's a big culture change too, as well. From moving from Georgia, what part of Georgia were you in?
North of Atlanta.
Okay.
So Cobb County area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big recruiting pipeline,
Mm-hmm.
a huge recruiting pipeline. The suburbs of Atlanta
Yeah.
is where a majority of the SEC goes to pluck their linemen, like a lot of their linemen. So you came from a high potent recruiting pipeline, received advice that was unfavorable. You came to Loudoun County. What made you move up? What brought you to Loudoun County?
So here's a fun fact. I actually grew up in Fairfax County. I
Okay.
played BRYC.
Shout out to BRYC.
Yeah, we talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
All right, now the pedigree is starting to make sense. Continue.
I
yeah.
fell in love with football particularly high school football, going to Robinson football games.
Yep.
So that Mike Emo years, like I was in the stands.
Okay.
So
How old? What year did you graduate?
I graduated high school in 2009.
Nine, okay.
So I probably 02, 01 was at like 4th, 5th grade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when
He
you're
was,
doing
at
that
our,
age.
he was at our beating of Robinson. That's for you, Josh.
Oh my God.
But like at that age, as a kid going to the varsity games, what are most boys that age, what are they doing? They're in the end zone, running around,
Yeah.
playing football, things like
Yeah.
that. I was in the stands glued, like absolutely glued
Wait,
to
Robinson
what
was
was going on.
amazing
Yeah.
during
They
those
were good.
years.
They were good. They were really good. Yeah.
So then moving to Georgia, and like you're saying, just the area and just, down south, it's a religion down there. You know what I mean? So things were, like I said earlier, not too long ago, practice down there, oh my God. We tackled to the ground every day.
Every day, yeah.
Every day. We were doing gassers every day, and then coming up here, I'm not going to say that we didn't practice wasn't as hard, but the physicality of it. I felt like, in a way, down there was like the next man up type of mentality. If you get hurt tackling in practice, next guy up.
Yep.
Whereas here, especially at Stonebridge, and I'm not saying it's like it is now with all these schools, but sometimes when that one goes down, you don't have a 1B.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, we got to protect this one.
Yeah.
So just the practice down there was a little not as intense, but the way Mickey went about it and how his approach is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Mickey was big on earning everything. He used to always say, get out of the Ashburn way. You know, and the Ashburn way to him was, you know, you're being baby by everything. He's basically saying, when you come on this field, that does not matter anymore.
I fucking love that. Yeah. I love that.
That's inside we did not know.
Yeah, that's insider information.
Yeah,
we did not know that.
We were there for 2 of his years,
yeah,
but we didn't hear him talk to the kids like in that particular manner. So that's lovely to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. So as much as academics was a welcome to Loudoun County, also the softness was welcome to Loudoun County, right? And it's interesting you say that because we talked to Coach Carter last week, who came from Alabama, and it was Alabama and it was Oklahoma.
Alabama and Oklahoma, yeah.
Yeah, and he said that down there football was, you know, it was king, right? So spring ball, all of that stuff.
I did spring ball down in Georgia.
Yeah, and so it's interesting how the sport that's king, probably the youth development is a little different as well. When you say there's not a 1B, I would imagine that starts from somewhere, right?
Exactly.
A lot of kids probably down there probably get funneled into the football system, and then there's a lot of kids that are
there's no weight classes.
Yeah.
There's
another one.
Another check.
Yeah.
On the list.
The middle school ball though is also tied with the high schools.
And that's one thing that Northern Virginia I think is missing as well, or the state of Virginia is missing as well. Is like the middle schools don't really invest in their athletic departments, and they don't compete against one another. No. You know, Brent and I can attest to that.
Yeah.
We went to Stone Middle School, and I think we played Rocky Run in one basketball game every single year. That's
about it.
Yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with the development as well, because imagine if you can take a 6th, 7th, and 8th grader, or in Fairfax County, a 7th and 8th grader, and really develop them in the game of football, rather than the random youth coaches that they may play for. No knock on the youth.
No disrespect to the youth coaches. I'm glad you guys are out there doing that.
But additionally, I think that a lot of the youth coaches in this area who figured out it's better to compete on an age playing platform rather than a weight platform, I really think they're able to develop those kids on one single learning curve. Yeah, each kid develops differently and learns differently, but at least I'm teaching all 10-year-olds or all 12-year-olds or all 14-year-olds. I don't have to worry about one kid that's going to high school next year, and then I have all of my offense and defensive linemen, you know, they're going to 7th grade next year. Yeah. And I think that plays a drastic impact on how these kids are developed, you know, and But the point I was trying to make is, it makes sense that you came here football ready. It's never going to make sense that you didn't come here academically ready. So I don't want to say that. But do you feel like you already had the leg up in as far as competing? You understood the game a little bit more. Like, talk a little bit about the differences between how you were prepared for varsity versus some of your peers who may not have been prepared as you.
Especially starting as a freshman.
Yeah, especially starting as a freshman.
So I will say the biggest thing for me was the different talent.
Okay.
Facing different competition. So like I said, I grew up elementary school here.
Yeah.
Right? And then, so for example, elementary school, I played football, basketball, baseball, right? And I think here was like, at the time, it was like 13 is when you went to the bigger fields and started playing baseball in the bigger fields, right? Yeah, correct. When I moved down to Georgia, those kids have been playing baseball in the big fields since 9.
Oh, damn.
And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play that anymore.
I'm good there.
Exactly.
So because you spent a little bit of your youth up here, you were already behind the 8 ball when you got down to Georgia.
I wouldn't say I was behind the 8 ball. I would say, like, one thing, I had 2 older brothers.
Okay.
And also, again, going back to the pound thing, I never played with my age group because I was just too big. I'll give you insight. I weigh less today than I did in 8th grade.
Same. No, I'm just kidding.
But I always played 2 years up.
Yeah.
So going down there, it's not like I wasn't prepared because I was always playing against older kids.
Yeah.
But it was also like, let's call it spade a spade. Those kids down there are a little bit faster.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They might be a little bit stronger than some Northern Virginia type kids.
A little bit more corn-fed.
Exactly.
Not too many vegans down there.
But you don't have to even say call a spade. Like, we know. You can see it. Mm-hmm. You just see the different type of athletes and the different state. We turn on the TV and you see a Georgia game, high school game being played. I'm like,
look at those grown men.
That's high school?
Right, exactly.
That was Georgia State.
That's the reaction I get. So it's kind of like, we grew up in this area. I love this area. No, I'm not knocking this area, but every area is different, right?
Yeah.
So,
But 7th grade was the first year I've ever played with kids my own age group.
Okay.
in any sport other than baseball.
Yeah.
So I was always, like I said, playing up and playing older kids. And then I got down there and it was just like, oh, football is king. You know what I mean? Like they love this stuff down here. So it was nice to kind of go into an environment, because by the time I got to middle school, I kind of already knew I was either going to play football or basketball.
Right.
And 8th grade showed me I was a football player. There was a kid on my 7th grade team. We were the same height. 8th grade, he was 6'4".
Oh, damn.
And I was like, yep,
Yeah.
I think we're going to play football.
That's wild. Yeah.
You know, but then going into getting into high school and things like that, it was funny because my first 2 games of high school, I was playing, down there was a 6-quarter rule. You had 6 quarters in a week.
Okay.
And I was playing 2 JV quarters and was available for 4 varsity quarters.
Interesting.
And actually, the first 2 games, I didn't play a snap at all, the varsity game. And so I'm sitting there thinking, why am I here?
You
know what I mean?
you're in 9th grade? Or you're
My 9th grade year.
Okay.
So those first 2 games, I played 2 quarters on JV, and they would always play I would play the first and 4th quarter. So it was just kind of like the second and third quarter. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Just
You know
hanging
what I
out.
mean?
Yeah.
And then it's kind of ironic is Hurricane Katrina happened. And living in Georgia, remember all the levees and all that, and the gas pipes got burst. So they couldn't, and that's where most of the Southeast were getting their gas from, was Louisiana.
Sure.
And because of that happened, school was canceled for 2 days. All right? We still had practice, and we had the 2 kids that were in front of me didn't show up to practice those 2 days. And so hey, I'm going to show you all a lesson, I'm going to start this freshman. Started every game ever since.
And then look back.
Never look back.
Look
Yeah.
back.
And so you played your freshman year down there, and then you moved up here.
My junior year.
Your junior year. Okay, so you play freshman down there. You play. By the way, like I didn't play with kids my age group either until 9th grade. That was one thing I wanted to, because like I was always the heaviest and youngest on my team, from 95 pound, 110, 125, all the way to 150. Like I always make a joke that my 8th grade year, playing on 150 pound, we were playing in the Sully Bowl, first game of the season, and half the kids on the Chantilly team drove to the game, right? And so Brent always laughs because my freshman year, I walk in and all these 9th graders who I'm peers with, because we had freshman football.
I was his coach. So
Yeah.
that's where it comes from.
Yeah, I was like, man, these kids are tiny. You know, it's like, no, you're just a big dude.
Exactly.
Right?
Like
Yeah.
I'm sitting there taking numbers and checking kids in, and I'm
All of a
looking,
sudden, you had somebody looking at you eye to eye.
and I'm looking at these kids, and I'm just like, I just graduated.
Yeah.
Me and the producer just won a state title at Centerville, and we're like, these are the tiny, like these kids are small. I'm like, this is what's coming in. I'm like, this school's in trouble, and I'm like doing all the numbers, and then all like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, I don't know, this dude and like 6 of his friends walk in, and I'm like, oh my God, look at the size of these boys. We gonna be okay.
We've been playing with SYA together, right? So all of us got dropped off, and then one got dropped off, another got dropped off. So we just held back for a little bit, and we were like, oh, let's just walk up to the field together. And so by the time like we saw a whole bunch of kids go up, we were like, all right, let's just wait for this little line to go, and then we'll go up.
Which is smart.
Yeah, and we walked in looking like some gridiron
Yeah,
games.
for real. They walked
Slow
in.
motion, they had the
Slow
music
motion,
going.
everything.
Right,
Yeah.
they walked in, and I'm sitting there looking. I look up. I said, "Oh, like finally some size."
It was great, man. We had. I mean, it was me. Like I was a pretty big kid back in the day. We had this kid Patrick Shield, who's one of my best friends. He was like 6'6" or 6'4" at the time, like 260. He was a big kid. He was the reason like all of us got scholarships. Low key. Derek Bailey, who just he ended up playing Syracuse with me, and he was yoked to the T. This kid Jamar Jackson. We had a whole bunch of guys, and we looked the part. We definitely looked the part. But yeah, so you ended up going 7th and in 8th grade down there, middle school. Played varsity your freshman year and sophomore year. And like, have you ever heard the story of Wally Pipp?
I know of the name. Not
Yeah.
the story.
So Wally Pipp was a Yankee, right? And he ended up like getting hurt or injured. He was like he was an all-star, right? And he ended up getting injured or hurt. And the next man up for the Yankees was, I think, Lou Gehrig. And the rest is kind of history.
Exactly.
Right?
It's all history.
Yeah, so like it's one of those, don't be a Wally Pipp. That's kind of like your story, right? Like, don't be that guy who ends up not playing or what have you, and then another kid comes up and just wipes your senior season, your junior season away.
I did steal that job from a senior.
Yeah, I love it.
A freshman stealing a senior. I love
And
that.
it was funny. Well, I wouldn't say funny, but what came with that was also bullying from him and his buddies.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially down there. There was some racial stuff that was going on too, not just on the football team, but in the building.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But it's funny. I think about, the Dave Chappelle. He talks about growing up in Maryland.
Man, I make this joke all the time.
But let
I
me
make
tell
this
you,
joke
that
all
was
the
me.
time. Yeah, that was me.
That was me.
That was
That's
us.
us. Yeah.
That was us growing
So
up.
both
yes.
of my high schools that I went to were very affluent areas.
Yeah.
But like my family, we lived tucked off right on the outskirts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We were renters and things like that.
Same.
And so like when I think about stuff like that, so going to those type of schools and being around those type of guys and things like that, you're a freshman who takes a starting job. There's gonna be some guys who not so happy about it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There was some times where, the offensive lineman, instead of coming off to block me, he would just drop down like he was about to cut me and then pick my feet up. And it'd just be like, and I look at the coaches like, yeah, I ain't gonna do nothing about this, And then finally, the biggest thing to kind of calmed it down a little bit. Let me tell you, my older brother, he's a little in the head.
Little
So I was like,
crazy.
all right, y'all
Yeah.
keep messing. I'm gonna go tell my brother.
Shout out to Big Bro. Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we done.
So it sounds like you were playing D-line.
Yeah, I was a D lineman.
D-lineman or
Okay.
DN? Inside or outside?
Both. Really both. My
Okay.
senior year of college, I played. There was a couple games that every series I was at a different spot. But
Oh, you guys are brethren.
my first year at NC State, I was 300 pounds. So I was strictly a 3 technique.
You guys are really brethren.
And then I started losing some weight. One day was like, nah, we don't want you that heavy. You know what I mean? And then over the course of time, I think I finished my last year, I played at like 260, 270-ish.
Okay.
So I was able to kind of be 3, 1, 5.
You had the
whatever they
experience to
needed.
play 3, but you got lost a little weight, so you were quick enough to play on the edge.
Yeah. And then also my junior year, we had a lot of injuries that ended up happening. We played Georgia Tech. Our original 10 guys that we had for D-line that was in the travel group, 8 of them were hurt.
Damn.
Dang.
We end up pulling fullbacks and offensive linemen to go play D-line. The fullback we moved to go play D-line broke his ankle the first series.
Yikes. You guys had some dogs that came out of that, some 3 techniques, some interior guys that came out those years too, didn't you?
Yeah, we actually had a couple. So let me start with this. My college quarterbacks were Russell Wilson and Mike Brennan.
I was going to say.
I was going to ask you who your quarterback. I was just about that. You said Mike Glennon?
Yeah.
Yeah, we know him. We
know
know
Mike.
Westfields.
Yeah.
And then, so we had some good linebackers that came out. I always take it as like a blessing to me. Now, I never got my cup of coffee in the league. I had a little bit too much fun. But I always say that it's a testament to me that all the linebackers I played with, they all played in the league.
Yeah.
Nice.
To me, that says something that I was doing my
your
job.
job, right.
You know what I
love
mean?
that. Yeah.
So, but we had a couple D linemen. The one is, I think he's still playing, T.Y. McGill. We also, Dave Amerson played for the Skins or the Commanders. But he had one of the best seasons I've ever seen at a corner with 13 picks.
Yeah.
And he returned like 4 or 5 of them for touchdowns.
I love that.
But yeah, we definitely played with some dogs there. At that level, it was weird because growing up in football, especially football, it's like it's a team. It's all about the team camaraderie and things like that. And I don't know about your experience, but I know at NC State, it felt like everybody started looking at the next level and not so much focus about how we're going to be successful as a team at this level.
Right now.
You know what I mean? And I'm a huge believer of team success equals individual success. I always tell kids now, I said, do you think Tim Tebow was a first-round draft pick because he was a good quarterback
No.
or because he was a winner?
Yes.
He won.
Yep.
Now, you could say, yeah, he had some talent around him.
Sure.
But somebody had to throw him the ball. Somebody had to lead that talent around
Right.
him. Especially
Somebody-
now, we know now about that 42.
Oh, yeah. That 30 for 30 is no joke, bro.
In the close games too, right? Because that's where I think Tim Tebow was legendary in those games that they were close.
That jump pass.
They were
is-
competing. He willed his team into
Yes.
victory. A lot of the times that teams were creeping up or coming back on him, like he willed them to have a perfect possession or close to a perfect possession.
Yeah, that one year he started with Denver, it kind of shows an example
Exactly.
of that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Pulls out that sneaky playoff win.
Playoff win, yeah, and it kept him in. It prolonged his career a little
Exactly.
bit, yeah. And so 7th, 8th grade, or 9th and 10th grade, you end up taking spots, and then boom, you get uprooted and you move to Loudoun County your junior year. What's the feeling inside? Is it well, man, I'm excited to go back home and like.
So originally, I went to Terrace Center Elementary. I went to Terrace Center and what's the school across the street from Robinson? Why am I going blank?
Robinson Secondary, the middle school?
It's an elementary right across the street.
Okay,
Oakview.
Okay.
So those are the 2 elementary schools that I went to. So when I knew my family was moving back, originally I was going to go back to Robinson.
Okay.
That was the plan, was to go to Robinson. But so all of my moves in middle school, whenever we moved, it was always because like I said, my older brothers were knuckleheads. It was always my family my parents trying to get my brothers out of some trouble.
Keep them out of trouble.
Yeah, get them away from the kids that they were hanging out with and things like that. And also, my brothers are twins. One of them didn't graduate high school. So essentially, the one who didn't graduate high school, essentially he got kicked out of Robinson when he was in middle school. So my mom looked at me and was like, that ain't happening.
Right.
So I was like, all right, let's go to Westfield.
You probably already had a target. She probably felt like she didn't want you to have a target on your back.
Well, because at the time, my brother was going to go finish.
Sure.
So she was like, if he's going back to go finish, he ain't getting into that school.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, can we go to Westfield? And she looked into it, and then that's when she made a decision of, let's not go to the same county. If he's going to come back, let's see, at least try to get whatever record they might have on him in that county, let's go to a different county. So I was like, all right. And a little side note, when my parents decided that we were moving, essentially I got to choose where we were going.
Okay.
Because my parents were like, really my mom talked my dad into it, was like, look, we are moving him up, just uprooting his life when he has an opportunity. He's building something here.
Right.
So if we're going to move him out of here and take him to another school, let's at least put him at a school that's good football.
I love that.
You know?
I love that.
So
I love it. You hear that, guys? Black families can move into districts that they want to move into. Okay, continue.
But so we just started doing our research in Loudoun County, and this was 2007. So Loudoun County was really now like really booming and growing and things like that. So just doing my research, I was like, ooh, what's this Stonebridge school over here?
Yeah.
Going back, I was like, oh, they had a pretty good year. They lost in the regional final. The year before that, they were in the state final. The year before that, they were in a regional final. I was like, man, this team's good.
They cranked it, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I was like, you know what? That's where I want to go. And also, they had 2 guys on the team at the time that were committed to Virginia Tech. Jaron Gavea, who's actually coaching there now, and another guy, David Wang, who is my class. So, again, being a Virginia kid, I grew up a Tech fan. They had 2 kids on the team going to Tech, and they're a good football program. I might be able to crush 2 birds with 1 stone here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and also Ed Wang, who's David's older brother, was at Tech already
as well. That was my year. He graduated.
Yeah.
With me.
So I was like, okay, this is the move right here. Yeah. So we ended up moving out there, and it's funny just how lines and stuff was. At one point, we were looking at a place, like it was probably like a mile down the street from Stonebridge. We're like, all right, this is the place. We looked at it, started doing paperwork, this, that, and the other. And then finally, my mom looked at like where it was zoned to. 2 miles the other way, it was zoned to Briarwoods.
Oh, no.
And I was like, nope, not going there.
Yeah.
We ain't moving there.
Yeah, we're not moving there. Yeah.
And it was funny.
Cancel the paperwork.
Retract.
Yeah. So then we ended up, and that's honestly what happened. We scrambled to find something else. So it was in the Stonebridge district because I had my mind set that I was going to Stonebridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Awesome.
I mean, like 11th grade you having the right mind to be like, all right, where am I going to plot my future?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My dad wanted to go to Culpeper, and at the time, I think it was just Culpeper and somebody else that was out there, and both teams weren't that good.
Culpeper and I think Liberty is the other one.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was like, nah, let's
now,
not do that.
Yeah, no.
Now, okay, then maybe not so much.
So
Well,
I can tell you that the Culpeper, when I was doing my research, I think they went 2-8 for like 8 years straight, and
Yeah.
it was like, nope.
Liberty takes the cake out there, and there's not I don't want to say there's not good football out there. I just don't think it's as developed as the rest of the state is out there. The talent is very spread thin.
But socioeconomically, things are different out there.
Yeah.
Some
Agreed.
of those kids got to work farms.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Some of those kids got to work jobs.
Yeah, they don't have time to play football. Yeah. And so when you came in, What was the you guys, I think at that point, Stonebridge hadn't gotten over like that state hump yet.
Nope.
Right.
So my first year at Stonebridge is when we won it.
Right. So you come in. Do you feel like that team was built to win the state championship, or do you feel like your addition as one of the heavies? Because one of the things that Loudoun County, in my opinion, doesn't. It's a two-face, right? One, they don't put out a lot of heavies. Mm-hmm. It's hard to get big linemen to play out here, especially
rich kids aren't fat.
Right.
Remember that.
Right. Right. A lot of vegans out here, right? Mm-hmm. And but on the other side, when they do get the linemen that come in, I think they're very well developed. Like I think Mickey and Stone, that 15-year gap or span that he had at Stonebridge, there were a lot of great offense and defensive line that were developed. And one of the things that I remember about your year that you guys won states is you guys can compete in the trenches.
That's how we beat Phoebus that year.
I
think we went in the halftime down.
Wait, wasn't there
21-7
on that team? Wasn't there somebody else on that team?
Who?
On your team, the state champ team? Another player? Kind
Brian
of like Alabama?
Oh, no, he's 4 years
after?
younger than me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I can give you a side note about
We'll
him.
talk about that in a second.
Yeah, like, that's all I'm going to say. I told him he needs to go to Alabama. When everybody was trying to tell him not to go.
Yeah.
Because if you seen John at that age, he was tall and, he had a frame, but he was still skinny.
Yeah.
And, and a lot of people were trying to tell him not to go because he was a small fish in a big pond. You know what I mean? And I looked at him one day, I said, if you don't take your butt to Alabama, and he looked at me sideways, I was like, if you don't make it, who don't want to transfer from Alabama? And I said, if you do make it, you're going to the league.
Yep.
Yeah, that's facts. Because we make the joke all the time, like, yeah, the NIL stuff has changed the game. Nick Saban bounced out because he can't have the control he had, and kids aren't loyal to colleges anymore. They're loyal to a paycheck.
Yep.
But everybody that went to Alabama knew I'm sitting on this bench for 3 years. But that year I play, I'm going in the first round.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. They had a couple years. They had like two
Guys didn't play.
Yeah, guys that like 2 or 3 at the same position, right? 2 or 3 running backs that would only get 12 to 15 touches a game.
Right. I mean, what's it called? Who's the Packers running back? Who was with the Raiders? He didn't even start at Alabama.
Right.
Josh
Jacobs. He wasn't even a starter.
Right.
He was a first round draft
Neither was
pick.
Kenyon Drake. When we drafted him in the first round for the Dolphins, I'm sitting here, I'm like, this guy was like a specialty player on the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Like
you
a
look at that
gadget guy.
receiving core that they had with
Right.
Ruggs,
Right.
Smith,
Yep.
Waddle. Who was the last guy? They was just dogs.
Dogs, all of them, all of them. And so, but like I said, that was one thing, and I don't know if you remember that game, Brent, but like that was one thing that stood out to me was the athletes. Well, I mean, Phoebus puts out athletes. You know what I'm saying? But you guys closed the box.
So about that game, I think we went at halftime down 21-7.
Uh-huh.
I remember I told you all about the time that the
Yeah,
spit on
yeah,
Mickey.
yeah.
It was at that halftime. It was in that halftime.
Spit on Mickey's lip right here.
But part of his message there was, hey, look, I don't think we're going to win this game athlete for athlete. But what I saw in this first half, I know we can win this game by running the football and smashing it. You know what I mean?
Make it ugly.
And that's what we did. And we also, and this is just kind of a thing what Mickey did anyways, and every team that he did it, he would start practicing this probably about week 7, week 8, that big jumbo package. That, hey, look, if we need to just run the clock out or just get those 3 yards and just essentially make the other team guard more gaps, he's going to put his big boys on the line. He's going to put a big but athletic guy in the backfield, and they're just going to run single wing.
Is that that single
You know
wing
what I mean?
offense? Yeah.
And so that game, I think it was once we got up to 20. Ended up being like 24-14, and we had the ball. It was about mid-third quarter, and Mickey looked at me and goes, "We're about to go jumbo." And just a little side note, I hated playing offensive line. I don't know what it was about it. I just didn't enjoy it. Actually, I know. I'm a see ball, get ball type of guy.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And just sitting there thinking like, oh, he's there. Do I know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That just wasn't.
Gap down backer.
Exactly.
Gap down backer.
So he came and kind of gave me that, just kind of like let me know, don't be mad, but I'm about to put you on the offensive line. And so that offensive line that we had was, so the center was just a good high school football player, right? The left side, the pull guard that we had was David Wang.
Okay.
The off tight end we had was really that's a receiver spot in that offense was Ryan Moody, who set records at receiver at William & Mary. Straight dog. The next week he had like 3 touchdowns in the state championship game. So if you go to the next side, another just good high school football player, right? The guy next to him was a 3-year starter at William & Mary. The guy next to him was me. The guy next to me was Zach Thompson, Wake Forest.
Yeah, we know
right?
Zach, yeah.
And then the guy running the ball was Jaron Gavea. So we walked down the field, we scored, and it was just like 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards.
Just ate it up.
And we walked down the field, we scored, and I'll never forget, I came off the sideline, and Mickey just had that grin on his face. And he looks at me and goes, "You know we ain't coming out of that, right?"
You're in for the rest of the game.
Hey, until they stop it, we're gonna go again.
And that's what we did. So the rest of that game is we played some really good defense on one side, and the rest of the time we just boom, 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 and just I think we ended up winning that game like 38-24.
Yeah,
because we just
so the defense
pounded the
shut
ball
them down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the defense probably held them in the game in the first, or definitely held them in the game in the first half. But offensively, like Mickey said,
I think between both teams, it was like 8 turnovers that game.
Yeah,
there was a lot of turnovers, but defensively too, though, straight dogs.
Dogs, yeah,
straight dogs.
No,
Like me and Zach Thompson are playing the ends. You have Mike Olson, who was almost he was a first team All ACC guy at Wake Forest. Again, Jaron Gavea back there at safety.
Yep.
You know, and even like fast forward a little off topic, but the next year we were so loaded. There was a sophomore on that team that did not play hardly ever, who was a freshman All-American at Boston College.
Yeah. You guys had. I feel like after you got over that hump is when Mickey really started railing, cranking out the state championships.
He still went through some tough times,
of course,
because he lost like 6 or 7 of them.
Yep.
In a row after that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of them I was actually on staff for that. And I'll never forget after, because it was the Highland Springs first one that they won. And I think, what was that, like 14, 15?
Yep.
So after that, when we were at a guy's house, whatnot, and Mickey's all down, and he was like, "Man, I feel like the Buffalo Bills right now." And I'm trying to cheer him up like, "You got one.
You got one, coach. Sorry." in Mickey's history, because he came from Parkview, right? He went through that at Parkview.
Yeah.
I mean, the quarterback that came to play for me in my senior year was his quarterback, and they had already went to 2 state titles and lost.
Yeah.
So it was like,
and
Mickey's played in more state championship games than probably any coach in this
100%.
area.
100%.
And each time that he would lose one, because there's a lot of people who Mickey haters out there. Teams that like not in the. If you're not a Stonebridge guy, everybody probably has. Oh, I can't stand Mickey. You know what I mean? They have that kind of mindset. And then once I start coaching it around other places, I'm always gonna. No matter what, if I'm in Northern Virginia, I'm always gonna have you're a Stonebridge guy. You know what I mean? So I'd always have, every time he would lose one, everybody would be blowing my phone up. Y'all can't win another one, this, that, and the other. And he finally won that one. I went back. I had all the receipts. All of them.
What you guys say about us now?
And then he won another one after that.
Wait, I mean, they finally figured out, like, I think after you guys got him over that hump, like, athlete for athlete, like you said, it's different in Loudoun County than it is at the beach.
Yeah. Playoff football is all about running the football.
Yeah.
You got to make the team cover more gaps.
Yep. Right? If you can't run the football and you can't stop the run, you're toast in Virginia. Yep. Because you're not going to come out every single week and throw it 50 times a game. No. You're just not.
You could get away with that if you got the right. If you got the right guys, you can get away with that in Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
But when you go down to the beach, it's a little different.
Those guys get on you a little faster.
The state championship game I was able to coach in when I was at Stonebridge as a coach. We played, again, Highland Springs. That was the Greg Dortch year. Hands down, probably top 5 best high school football players I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, that kid was different.
Right.
So the first series, we're doing our thing. We're getting the ball down the field, and we ended up, I think we were on our plus 35, and we took a shot. And when that ball got in the air, in my mind, I was like, ooh, touchdown. The kid had a good step on him. It's like, ooh, touchdown. But as the ball continued in the air, I was like, no, he's not. No, he's not. And that kid put his head down, pick. And I was just like, in Northern Virginia, that's a touchdown. And I'm going to be honest with you. I knew right then and there what the result was going to be, because I knew we didn't have anybody with that type of speed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think, what's it called? Who's the big guy who played for the Jets? That lineman they had, big old dude. Can't remember his name, but they had the bodies, the linemen, to be able to milk the clock
From
out.
Highland.
Yeah. And those guys can move.
Yeah.
You know,
We
those
saw them
guys
up
move.
close and personal.
Yeah. Those guys, there's
And they're well coached.
That's
Very
what I
well
was about to
coached.
say.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know, love them or hate them, they're a very well coached team, and there's a reason they've been very dominant at the 5 level, and it's a reason they had instant success at the 6 level.
They just met Daryl Overton's freedom.
Yeah,
and
that
it
was very unfortunate.
But they-
for
But
them.
he did that.
But they-
but he
they-
did that at Unity Reed when it was Booker T.
Right.
He was putting out dudes and playing some
Those
really
were
good ball games.
Ryan Williams,
Yeah.
yep, those guys.
That's
They had
a stud.
they had a duo back there at running back when he was there. Yeah. So there's a couple of interesting things that you said, man. I think you tap into running the ball in the playoffs in Virginia. Like, you got to know the history at Oakton. The last 2 state championships that they won, Keith Payne ran the fucking football. I know firsthand. All right, they ran that.
You had to deal with him.
I had to deal with the man.
We're friends with the guy,
Triple option was.
Are you telling him he needs to come make a visit?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
you heard that? You heard that, producer?
Yeah, come make
you
a
need to
visit.
call Keith
Call
Payne.
Keith
He needs
Payne.
to come
Shout
up
out
to
to
this
Keith
school.
Payne.
Keith, show up at Oakton.
Yeah. What was it? The process, Keith. Process.
Process.
Yeah.
Process.
So they ran the rock. Like, they busted our ass. It made the game super ugly my senior year, and that was the year they beat Percy Harvin in the state championship. And Percy Harvin, they ran 11-10 personnel, and Percy Harvin ran around everybody. But what they did in that state championship game is they slowed it down. They won in the trenches. They made it ugly. And, like, you know, when you run a very finesse type of style offense, you don't get to practice as a defense. You don't get to practice against the run a lot. And alternatively, like, when you shut down the athletes or when you keep the game ugly, and you limit the big plays, right? That those type of teams tend to get frustrated, and that's what you saw in that game. I think it was 28-7. They ended up winning that game, and they played a very non-traditional defense. It was wherever Percy went, Keith went. Right. Or we're gonna go athlete for athlete because we think our one is just as good as your one, and then we want all of our 2s through 22s to be better than your 2s through 22s.
Or at least play a better game that night.
Right.
You know
right.
what I mean?
And then the state championship game they won prior to that, Pat Day ran the same type of offense.
Yeah.
And they beat Hilton. I think it was 7-6 in a state championship game. They beat Hilton. They beat
defensive battle.
They beat
Exactly.
Jeff Overton's. They beat Jeff Overton's Hilton in that state championship game. And once again, like all they did was make it very ugly. So it makes perfect sense that formula, which I think is the formula on how to beat the Beach and how to beat Richmond, is you have to beat them in the trenches. You have to limit their big plays. But most importantly, on offense, like, you're not going to run.
You're not gonna outrun them.
You're not going to outrun them, right? And
Unless you got Dom Nicely on the
right,
team.
exactly. and I want to end with that because I think that's what you saw in that Madison versus Lake Braddock game this past year. Is Lake Braddock they didn't run the rock all year.
Yeah.
They ran 5 wide, ran 10 and 11
They got a
personnel.
stud quarterback and
They got
a stud receivers.
Exactly. But one thing that Madison did do in that game is they said, all right, we're just going to limit your big plays. We're going to frustrate you, and we're going to put pressure on your QB. And then when we have the rock, you know, it's going to be a 2-to-1 possession time.
Yep.
Right. And they didn't do anything phenomenal on offense. All they did was just keep the ball on the ground. And they moved Dom a little bit around and you know, got the ball out to him in space, and Dom did what Dom did.
It took to the second half before Dom had his explosive plays in that game.
Yeah.
They were bottling him up, but he was still chipping away.
They stayed
1
in it.
yard,
They
3
stayed in it.
yard,
You know
4
why?
yard.
Because they're well coached.
Yep.
That's what it comes back down to.
Yep.
So we sat down with him. He's a Skinner guy.
Yeah.
He was coached by Skinner at Madison. So
That's
it's crazy.
when I heard Skinner was over there. That was the reason why he was over there.
Of course. Yeah.
But Skinner's a Mickey guy.
Yeah.
So it all goes back to Mickey.
So you had you end up. So that Phoebus game was the regional championship.
It was state semifinals.
State semifinals. Okay. And then you went on to beat who that year?
The Potomac. Potomac Senior.
So that pretty much was the state championship.
We won the state championship game 38-0.
Yeah, that was pretty much the state championship.
They didn't break a sweat.
It's been a couple of times like that where the Stonebridge, the semifinal game is really the state championship.
It was the same
game.
thing the next year.
Yeah.
As soon as that game was over, my junior year, everybody knew. Even all throughout the season, it was weird because my senior year, the whole season, everybody just knew. Stonebridge versus Phoebus, but this time down there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just like I said, everybody knew and kind of played with that chip on our shoulder that, hey, we're going to go play for a state title again this year.
Right.
And there was a couple of times throughout that year when you're playing, when you got your mind. And at the time, Stonebridge was in the Liberty District, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So our district games was Madison, McLean, Marshall, TJ was still playing like a normal schedule.
Sure.
So we were playing Fairfax schools. So when you have everybody saying that you're going to go play Phoebus in the state semifinals game, it's hard to get up for Langley. It's hard to get up for McLean. You know what I mean? And it was one of those things I'll never forget to this day. I think we're playing Langley. It was a homecoming game for us. We're playing Langley. And we had a kid who actually moved in that year. And as he went into the end zone, he did like a bird celebration and things like that. And he gets penalized, touchdown off the board. And I ripped him. Like, who do you think you are? Like, you didn't win that state title last year. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and it was just like, again, kind of trying to keep the standard to, hey, if we're going to go beat that team, we're gonna have to play some good football. You know what I mean? And that did not happen that year.
Yeah. So your senior year.
Yeah, our senior year, we ended up losing to them. We got our butts whooped.
Yeah.
It was a weird day. When you have to sit on 95 for an hour because the cheerleaders got on the wrong bus.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
Come on now. Yeah. Okay. So, and then your junior year, you said in December or February, your junior year, you committed to NC State. You go play ball at NC State. I imagine you were redshirt your freshman year, or did you play your freshman year?
I got 150 snaps my freshman year.
Woo! Okay.
Yep.
This is y'all part of the conversation. I'll just take my non-D1 stuff out of
it's
here.
not me. I sat I was the kid who was like the next man up, but the two guys ahead of me were dogs my freshman year.
Yeah.
And so I was the kid who woke up at 5 o'clock for the developmental workout on Friday, but then I also had to travel. So
I was so glad I got to miss the developmental workout.
Son.
They used to come to practice some days just like, I'm like, son. We had one kid, when you come down, it was a Sunday. Sundays we practice in the stadium. And he came down. Our stadium, you got to get on the elevator, or you can walk down the stairs to get down to the ramp, and then it's a ramp that leads you onto the field, right? This kid got on the elevator, and by the time he got to the bottom, he couldn't hold the throw up no more. I'll never forget seeing that throw up just slowly coming down
the trail.
And as soon as I was like, oh, this winter's going to be hell.
Yeah. I got to Syracuse at 250. By the time my redshirt year ended, I was 285. And they were like, oh, no, you're a 3 technique. Yeah. Because I graduated at Syracuse 245, got there at 250. But then, they realized, even though I was gaining weight, I was still twitchy. I was still, my speed didn't, and our interior line was not deep at all.
Yeah.
And so they needed pretty much bodies. That's how I got moved in there. And then I just stayed there. Yeah. So NC State, you played freshman year, you played all throughout NC State. How did you end up getting into coaching when you came back?
I would say probably end of my junior year of college, going into my senior year. The phrase I used to tell some of my teammates, most of the D-line guys who was in that room with me, I would be sitting there like, man, I can't wait till I have the whistle in my mouth and not my foot on the line. So I always kind of knew I wanted to be a coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just, shoot, you can tell those guys in that room, you can ask any of them, and they probably tell you, I coached them more than our D-line coach did. And my D-line coach, and that's credit to him, he gave me that freedom to be able to, because in a way I also earned it by, again, playing my freshman year. One of the big things about my freshman year, I'll tell you, in those 150 snaps, I don't even know why I looked to the sideline. I had no clue what those calls were anyway. It was the guy next to me that was like, hey, this is what you got to do. You know what I mean? So my big thing going into my sophomore year, especially that spring, going into that spring, I said, I am going to know the playbook by the end of this spring. So, and it was funny, the guy that I used to tap, like, hey, what I got to do here? The very next year, he was, hey, what I got to do here to me?
Yeah.
You know, so.
What you got, long stick?
So I started taking it upon myself that I need to know this. And as it became secondhand to me, just helping the guys out. And that's like, I felt like my freshman year, I had 2 seniors that really took me under their wing. You know what I mean? Showing me what I need to do, how to go about my business, how to watch film and things like that. And also my D-line coach knew that I watched the film. Every meeting we had, I'd already watched the film probably twice before we had that meeting.
That's how it was.
You know, I'll get in there and I'm in there by myself watching it.
Watching your plays, watching the cut-ups. Yep.
And with side note on that's when I knew Aaron Donald was going to be a dude.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald's, I think it was his sophomore year, I was a senior.
Yep.
And that was when Pitt first got into the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
So every team that we played that year played Pitt. It's probably like the 3rd, 4th game that I realized, like, who is this 99? Right. I know he was 98
because you're seeing him every single week on film.
Who is this guy? To the point where I'm telling everybody else, yo, y'all need to watch this 98. This dude is something serious. You know what I mean?
Look at this. Look at this mother. Look at this mother. Right. Click. Oh, look at this. Yeah.
So, but again, just kind of learning the game on my own. I wouldn't say on my own, but taking a initiative.
More professional approach to it.
Yeah, to learn it. And like I said, I already kind of knew that I wanted to coach, and I was kind of getting burnt out from it. Anyways, not saying that. Yes, I still try to go take my shot, my cup of coffee, whatever. Who's not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when that opportunity didn't come to me, I'll never forget. I went to a CFL tryout. Okay. And when I left that tryout, the first thing I did, the first person I called was my academic coordinator. Because I was at home doing training for the NFL, but I was also in classes, right?
Yep.
I called her to make sure I was back in classes for the summer and the last semester I had to finish, right? Yep. My next call was to my agent at the time to be like, you know what, I appreciate everything you did for me, but I think, like, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's like, this, that, I'm going to go back and finish, and this, that, and the other. And that's when he's actually from Raleigh as well. And in that phone call, he's like, you want me to see if I can get you in a high school? I know some guys who coach in high school down there, this, that, and the other. I was like, absolutely. Yep, appreciate that. And then the third phone call was my mom, just letting her know, like, this is the decision I'm making. I'm going back to school. You know, so that last year that I was in school, really the only time I was in school and not playing football. And that's when I was like, that summer, I was like, I don't know if I can not have football in my life.
Yeah.
So that phone call finally came in, and I was able to get a assistant D-line coaching job at a high school, local high school, Millbrook High School, my first coaching job. And so I was still taking classes at NC State and coaching down there, and it was just like.
Still big body.
Nope.
Still just big.
Exactly.
For no reason. Look, man, I went through a little bit of the same thing. My senior year, we were awful at Syracuse. I think my first 3 years there, we were 10 and like 39 or 45 or something like that. It was pretty bad. Doug Marone comes in. We were 4-8 his first year, but we were like the best 4-8 team. We ended up losing 27 scholarship guys because like he ran us into the ground. Yeah. So by the time
those guys.
So by the time my senior year came out, I was just very burnt out and over it. I just wanted to take my diploma and run.
Yeah.
And even when I got cut with the Jags, I had no intent on going back. Mm-hmm. Like I had my mind focused on building this app, building this team, and really helping kids in a different type of way.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wanted to be involved in football, and I knew at what capacity. I just needed to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And the first thing I had to do was stop playing football. Mm-hmm. Right. And so you kind of see the writing on the wall. I think most of us can probably see the writing on the wall. I think the longer you're in the NFL, there's more of a denial about the writing on the wall. Probably more in the past than they are now. I think people are a little bit more realistic. You even have guys retiring early, right?
Donald was one of them. He could have kept playing, and he's like, I'm done.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people who still want to be involved with football after their football life, they kind of see the writing on the wall early. And so it's funny that you're saying that because I had the same type of feeling. Like I can't wait to get this app or graduate and leave this area so I can finally start working on this app or finally start working on this concept. And so you were at a local high school. When did you move back into Loudoun?
So right after I graduated, I came back and I was coached at Stonebridge for 2 seasons.
Okay, so you graduated and then came back into the area, coached for
But
2
I actually
seasons.
went back to North Carolina.
Okay.
So when I was at Stonebridge that second year, that was the year we lost to Highland Springs in the state championship game. I had some buddies who were like, "Hey, come on back, let's get a house together, this, that, and the other." You know what I mean?
Still
I
young
was like,
at the time.
I was
Party
like,
house.
Yeah, I was like 24. You know what I mean?
I'll come back down.
Yeah, and that was the problem too, though. Like I went back down there and had a little bit too much fun. I'll never forget. I had I called my mom called me and basically was like, "We're gonna cut you off. You got 2 choices. You can come on home and we'll help you get you back on your feet, or you're gonna get cut off." I was on 95 within the next 6 hours.
He's like, I'm coming home.
I need a lifeline.
I'm coming home.
Yep.
That's so funny. So you were here for 2 years, went down there for a couple years, came back. All right, and then what happens after that?
Yeah.
So now to kind of go back a little bit, when I was at Stonebridge, I had a little like too much, I guess you could say pride or school pride, that at the time I was like, I can never coach in another place in
Right.
Virginia that's not Stonebridge. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until I went back to North Carolina. So my first year coaching, we lost in the state semifinals.
Okay.
All right. I go to Stonebridge. First year we lose, I want to say it was the semifinals or the regional final. And then we lose in a state final game. In my lifetime, that's all I've known was good football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like, I can't imagine like going to one of these other schools and things like that. And then when I moved back to North Carolina, it was the first year I've ever coached on a bad football team. We were 1-9. And throughout that season is to me when I realized that I didn't care about the wins that much anymore.
Okay.
I cared about seeing these kids and these kids grow.
It's interesting.
You know what I mean? Because it was, and that 1-9 season really made me realize that I want to use football as a vehicle for life.
I love that.
You know, and also
beautiful.
when you get around, everybody wants to talk about the good coaches they've been around before, right?
Right.
Nobody talks about the bad coaches they've been around.
Yeah.
And that was also first experience that I've ever been around a bad head coach.
Wow.
If I'm being honest with you, you know what I mean.
What made it bad?
I'll give you an example. So we had a kid. So down there in North Carolina, there's no freshman football. There's only JV.
I love that.
There's only JV and varsity. And a lot of times, if you're a bad junior, you're probably going to get cut for
Yes.
these freshmen. You know what I mean? And we had a freshman that we didn't really think too much of him until a bunch of injuries happened. So then he had to play, right? And when he got out there, he started we were like, who is this kid, right?
Right.
And really good kid, great kid. And then a little side note, just it goes with the story. Our team motto that year was "Be a Man." It was BAM was the acronym, right? So this kid's starting to play for us. So obviously, when a kid starts playing, it's just natural that coach is going to pay attention to him a little bit more.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, this kid starts coming to practice late every day. He's late every single day. And because what my job was in the building there, I could get to the admins, be like, hey, what's going on here, right? And they really didn't know. So now the kid started getting punished for he was late to school too, right? He was late to school in the morning and he was late to practice. So I'm talking to admin, they don't really know what's going on, this, that, and the other. So finally, I went up to the kid and I was like,
What's going on?
what's going on? Like, all of a sudden you've had this change. Your attendance is bad, you're getting in trouble, this, that, and the other. And he told me that, and we already knew this too, though, that his grandmother had terminal cancer. And so the reason why he was late to school every day, because his parents left before him. He told me, he was like, I'm not going to leave my grandmother by herself until the hospice gets there.
Respect.
I can understand that. So why are you late to practice? Coach, that's when the shift change happens. I can't let my grandmother be there by herself. Makes a lot of sense. I got you. You know what I mean? So I went to admin, got all his attendances wiped off, the tardies wiped off. I'm like, this kid's going through something like this, that, and the other. They were cool about it. And then that day of practice, our head coach was like, I don't even remember the kid's name. It's killing me. He was like, so what are we going to do about him? And we all of us assistant coaches are looking at each other like,
What the hell do you
do
mean?
you
What we're
mean?
going to do about him?
yeah.
We can give him a ride.
You
How about
ready?
let's
You
start
ready?
that.
I kid you not. He says, we're not going to let him use his dying grandmother as an excuse, are we? And I just walked away.
Oh, my God.
Walked away.
That's a terrible human being.
Yeah.
That's a terrible human being. It's not even just a bad coach. You're a terrible human being at that point.
And it was just like, and that I knew. And again, people don't talk about the bad head coaches.
Right.
For me now being in the seat that I'm in, I'm going to take things from the Mickeys, the Jason Dawsons, the Joe Cockerhams, good head coaches, in my opinion, that I've worked for.
Sure.
And I'm also going to take things from him, the things that I know that those kids didn't like.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he got on me one day because kid wasn't giving full effort on a kickoff drill, right? And I'm a joke, playful type of guy, right? And I looked at him, and I could just see the kid. He's just, and I was like, I know what you're thinking. And he looked at me, and I was like, excuse my language. He goes, I was like, you thinking fuck coach, huh? He just started smiling. I said, if you want him to stop, you're going to have to try a little harder. And he was like, I got you, coach. Why he get mad at me later on talking about I was undermining him?
Oh, wow.
I was like, I'm trying to motivate the kid.
Right.
The kid tried harder, right? You got what you
What you
wanted
wanted,
out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I even say that sometimes too when I'm getting on a kid now.
Yep.
And I can see it. I'm like, I know what you think. You think it fuck me right now, but you're going to have to.
Those are the coaches you appreciate.
Those are
appreciate.
coaches you love. You end up talking about like the Skinners,
Yeah.
the Mickeys,
That's
probably the Justin Counts, right?
yeah. That's how our strength and conditioning coaches.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Oh man, like they would motherfuck you during their sessions, and they would love you at the same time. Be like, if you want us to be better, we would, you're gonna have to do X, Y, and Z. But then they would also make it a us versus you type of game. Don't let us beat you.
Yep.
We're only two guys. Don't let us come out here and kick your ass. And if you want us to stop, then we gotta get tired of blowing this whistle, kind of thing.
I didn't get to see his strength and conditioning coach on the motherfucker side, but he took me up to Syracuse and got to meet him. Dude's hilarious, bro. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Like a great dude.
But that's you got to have that switch as a coach, though.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is. That
Shout out to Will Hicks.
I'm gonna
Yes.
be
Shout out to
this way
Hicksy.
in the weight room or on the field, but when we're outside of that, let's chop it up. Let's laugh.
Yeah.
Let's joke. Let's really create that bond, that family bond that we're trying to get
You have to. You have to. I mean, we're going to war together. It can't just be all wartime, right? We got to be able to celebrate. Thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago, I would get on your ass if we're trying to take over a village, but then we would drink and party at the end of the night, and there had to be that fraternity had to be built both on and off the field. I think if you translate that to 2025, it's you loving on the kids, but coaching them hard on the field. But then when you're off the field, letting them know that, hey, I'm here as a human, and I'm here to take care of you off the field, just like I take care of you on the field at another capacity.
And how you want them to run through a wall for you?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If you don't have that balance,
Shout out-
it just can't be MFs all the time.
Look,
Right,
shout out to
exactly.
Scott Schaefer, because that's the first coach that showed that to me. He was the first coach that really coached me really hard. He coached everybody hard. Like, I remember one practice, we were kind of slacking off, and he blew the whistle, threw his sheet up in the air, and I will replace every mother in one of you, you sons of bees, this and that and the third. And then in our team meeting at the end of the night, guys, when I call you sons of bitches, I'm not calling your mom a bitch. Guys, understand, I'm trying to motivate you, okay? He would love us really hard, but we ran through the wall for him, and
Love
this is
those coaches.
He willed us from going from 109th in the nation on defense to a top 10 defense my senior year. That's how much we believed in him.
Yeah.
And so there's no. And what I appreciate about you is that you were instantly able, even in your young coaching career, to identify bad coaching.
Right. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who miss that boat because they haven't been coached by good coaches. They haven't worked for good coaches.
And kind of unfairly, that every coach after Mickey that I went and coached for, I always compared him to Mickey.
Yeah, you were
But
spoiled.
you had a high standard,
spoiled.
right? You expected.
But that's the pedigree
Right.
you were cut from. And that's what makes you desirable as a hire is okay, well, where did you play high school? Stonebridge.
Oh.
I will tell you this: in my assistant coaching career, and especially in Northern Virginia, all I had to say was, I played at NC State, I played at Stonebridge.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, look, I have friends all the time that tell me I should be coaching. You should coach, man. You'd be a great coach. But you know, and you played at Syracuse, you played a year in the league, and you played at, you know, at Centerville, and Centerville.
Your knowledge of the game is crazy.
I mean, but like you've been through, you've seen the good. Mm-hmm. Is what I'm trying to make. You know, I'm trying to, and it's easy to know what that looks like when you've been all over the place and seen it applicable and not and see it not applied in some coaching staffs. And like, you know, my heart goes out to that kid back in the day. Right. Like I hope he's in a good place, but
mentally, yeah.
So did we end with that kid being chopped off the team, or
no? But we had another kid with another sad story that coach ended up kicking off the team. That was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, so stuff like that is like you lose your humanity, and then you know you have to respect the game, and the game is going to respect you back. Right. You know, and it's about your morale, right? As a team, that can make the difference between a 500 team and a team that goes like 9-3 in a deep run in the playoffs. Exactly. You know, morale of the team. So you move back up here after mom says we won't cut you off and let you move back. And so where'd you go after that?
So I actually took a year off just to kind of. It was a weird moment in my life because I felt like in my life at that point, it was all football. That I was like, let me take a year off. And I wanted to try something different in the world. Could I get to that love of something else that I had for football?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's when I found the weight room.
Okay.
You know, and I was actually personal training, in which even when I did go back to coaching football, before I became a full-time teacher, I had my own personal training business. I was out here grinding, doing that grind and things like that. But so when I took that year off, it was the next place, my next stop was Champ High School. And this is how I know Lee. That's how I met Lee Carter.
Okay. So this was very recent then, yeah.
This was, I got there pre-COVID.
Okay.
So 17. And I remember I got my teaching job. My first teaching job was the year after COVID.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah. But
so just at the beginning phases of him taking over the program.
So
and the previous
Dawson was still there.
Dawson was still there.
He was just an offensive coordinator.
Got it.
And I actually stepped away that year when he got promoted to when he came up and became offensive coordinator. I was there because then COVID and all that and everything. Yep. So that extended kind of spring going into the fall. I was there, and then I ended up getting a full teaching job in Fairfax, which the main reason why I went to Fairfax is
Fairfax High School?
No, in Fairfax County.
Oh, okay.
I went to Fairfax County because I didn't realize, like, trying to go back and working in the county that you went to, especially when you're kind of a knucklehead, you know what I mean, that you're still going to be looked at as the teenage kid that you were.
Really?
And at this point, I
could never get into Centerville High School.
They'll never.
By the time now,
well, we could because they don't. All that stuff's gone. All those people that were there with us are gone. So it wouldn't be the same look.
I had people that worked in the building at John Champ that were young teachers when I was a student.
Oh.
Yeah. Even we had this is before Kevin Tyson. I don't know if you all know who that is, but he was the principal at Champ. That's how I got in over there. But before he got there, something happened. I think he had a kid. When he had his kid, the interim principal that came in was my principal in high school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So, and it just felt like, and even as I started applying for PE jobs out there, that I just kept running into somebody that knew me or knew of me and things
Small
like
world,
that.
man.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Let me try to start a new name, essentially, or just get something different where nobody in Fairfax knows 16-year-old Brian Slay.
Yeah. Kind of rebrand yourself for the area. Yeah.
So I was able to get out here in Fairfax. My first job was at a elementary school. That was pretty fun going to that age group.
Yeah.
That was real fun. Because you're a rock star. Being a PE teacher in elementary, you're a rock star.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The best class. It's the best class. It's the one you want to go to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Until you have to run the mile.
Until you tell them it's fitness day. We got some push-ups today.
The V slit reach.
Exactly.
You can either do pull-ups or flex arm hang. Which one do you want to do?
I was the arm hang.
Yeah, I was guilty. I was guilty with the arm hang. I'm like, pull-ups are too much of these long arms.
Long arms, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but that first year I was teaching at Kings Glen. I was actually it was my first time, in 1 year only, I was at Flint Hill.
Okay.
And that's when I
Under
realized.
Peterson?
Yeah.
Correct.
I realized I was a public school coach. Very quickly.
Private school's not for you.
No.
Yeah. A lot of vegans on that team, too.
But not even just that. Like,
we love KP.
the very first game,
we
our
do.
very first game, we went down to we started the season off with like 25 kids. This was before he got all those kids in there, like the Josh Clarks and all that. Our first year there, we had 25 kids.
That's not a lot of kids.
Right?
Not for
we
a football
finished the
team.
season off with like 17. Oof. Yeah, it was rough.
I was about to say something crazy. Like, how did y'all play? But you have to have 11, so 17 still gives you enough to play. Both, a lot of both way
our
players.
very first game that year, we went down to what is it? St. Christopher's in Richmond. Yo. It was not pretty, right? And so just me, I'm a very positive guy. I don't care what that score is. I'm gonna still try to keep my guys up, keep them upbeat. We got to play hard. At that point, we're playing for pride.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're just not gonna lay down and just let somebody just bend us over. That's not gonna happen. So I'm going in the locker room trying to give them that pep talk. Like, all right, let's go. Like, we got to keep this up. Let's just whatever. And the moment I walked into the room, there was a dad in there talking to the team. And I was like,
what the hell?
This is not for me. And then all the coaches, because I was very animated about how upset I was. So all the coaches are trying to console me. And that's when Kurt comes like, hey, that's the dad. So I don't care. Was he there in practice Monday through Thursday this week? No. You know, and that's just me. Like,
it's a little different when you have boosters that are involved in the program versus the silent boosters. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and that just right there alone, I knew that that wasn't gonna be something that was gonna be for me. Yeah. You know, because that to me was just daddy ball over again.
Yeah, what are you gonna say to the guy who's paying $50,000 to the school for him to come here? Right. You know, as opposed
donated another 25.
Yeah. As opposed
some new helmets and things like that.
Yeah. Right. As opposed to the mom who just bought the coupons.
Mm-hmm. Who bought the pasta for pasta
bought
night.
the pasta night. you can tell her it's team time, but you probably can't tell him it's team time. Exactly. You know what I mean?
But that experience also, though, that was my first time ever being a coordinator. So I got to really learn and grow. I'll tell you right now, that first year, I sucked as a coordinator. Yeah. I wouldn't say the whole year. It was kind of like the first couple games, and I wasn't very good at it. You know, and as the year went on, I got better and got better and got better. And we played some really good defensive games, but our offense today, I mean,
big learning curve.
Yeah. It was brutal. So then that whole situation, me realizing that, hey, look, this is probably not for me. You know, and at that point, I've coached a lot of different positions.
Yep.
And I knew that I wanted to be a head coach. I knew that. And that also, kind of side note, that's another reason why I was training the way I did. So I had a background of training big teams. You know what I mean? How you go about the program design to implementation to keep tracking their progress and things like that. So I was doing a lot of different things to kind of prepare myself.
Building a foundation.
To be a head coach. Right. Another side note, like during those years of just being a TA and things like that, I took a job as a server. I was a super shy kid. If it wasn't football, I didn't even know how to talk to you. You know what I mean? So I got a job as a server just to learn how to talk to people, how to stand up in front of a room of people and talk. You know what I mean? So I did a lot of things to try to grow who I am and, like you said, lay a foundation.
Yeah.
So
working on your craft and understanding where your deficiencies are. And
exactly.
Focusing on them.
Yeah, you probably heard the phrase multiple times, being comfortable being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Right? And so you put yourself in artificially uncomfortable situations so you can feel that. That way you can prepare yourself for the things that you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And man, that's a difficult space to be in. It's hard. Nobody likes doing that, right? Nobody likes hopping in the cold tub.
Exactly.
Right? Nobody likes hopping in the cold tub, and that's what you did, in life. And so you ended up pushing through Flint Hill. And was like, I can't do that. And then did you go anywhere after that?
I went to McLean for 2 years.
McLean, okay.
So my first year at McLean, and that's another reason why I left. I wouldn't say left. I already knew I was leaving Flint Hill, but the thing that attracted me to McLean. Fast forward a little bit. Before I merely made a decision to leave Flint Hill, my elementary school that I worked at was across the street from Lake Braddock.
Okay.
And I coached track too. I used to coach track. And I was coaching track over there. And I don't know how he knew who I was, but he was like, what are you doing here? I was like, what you mean? He was like, where are you coaching at? And I started talking to him, this, that, and the other. And he was like, you want to be an O-line coach here? And my point is, I really wanted to coach the O-line. Because I haven't done it yet, and I know that's like the meat and potatoes of a football team.
Yes.
The trenches are most important.
And I ended up actually turning that down to stay at Flint Hill, and I was probably at Flint Hill for like another month before I made the decision to go to McLean. Okay. And the big thing about McLean was I was going to be an O-line coach. And so I was first year at McLean, I was offensive line coach. I think we went 1-9 that year. And at the end of the year, the head coach made a change at the defensive coordinator position. And I was like, you know what? Let me put my name in that. You know what I mean? So I even talked to him before he even opened it up because I wanted to be his only interview for that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which I was. And so got promoted to be the defensive coordinator. And I'm a toot my own horn. That first year, man, were we lights out.
Yeah.
I think we were average 11 points a game. We went 8-3 that year at McLean.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was a lot of
That's a good season at McLean, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We went 8-3. And also, like, I got to give a lot of credit to those kids, that senior group at McLean. Like, they were dialed in. They were really like, let's get this changed because I'm tired of losing. You know what I mean? So a lot of it was those kids and just being receptive to the coaching.
I mean, you got to have the right person in there to be receptive, and that's a testament to the relationships that you were able to develop.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that year, like I said, we had I had region player. He was first team. He was the district player of the year. The kid that really I'm proud of the most out of that group. The year before, he was a D lineman one game. He played corner the next. He was just like there was no real home for him.
Right.
I made a home for him. That kid's at JMU now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, but
shout out to what's his name?
Kevin Capicelli.
Oh, let's go, Kevin.
There you go, Kev.
Right.
Okay.
But so after that year, kind of halfway through that season, we're having a really good year. I was kind of like, is this going to happen? It's going to be this year. You know what I mean? I got some really good relationships in this county, and also kind of backtrack a little bit. Before this job, I did go on a couple head coaching interviews.
Okay.
Right, and it goes back to when they're doing reference checks, they'll call an old AD from Stonebridge.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I came over here in this county, and I got some really good references from my elementary school, right, that I taught at. I got some really good references from McLean, not only as a coach, but I went in that building and was a teacher as well.
So the rebrand is working at this point. Yeah.
So now I'm like, the phone calls that people used to make to Loudoun County is not going to be made anymore. They're going to be made right here in this county.
The perception has changed about you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, and started thinking like, all right, I'm going to put my name out there this year. This is going to be the year. I had a really good year on the field as far as coaching. I'm doing a good job in the building. Like, there's nothing that's going to come back to say, well, in high school.
Right. In high school, your brother was a dickhead. Right. We know that has nothing to do with you, but we feel like it does.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're going to blame you for his mistakes.
So this ended up popping up, and kind of everything worked out the way it did, and it was just, I'm very thankful to be here. And, you know, the biggest thing that going through this process, and as I'm telling the people, like, yeah, I'm interviewing over at Oakton, this, that, and the other, and getting the job, the one thing I kept hearing was, oh, there's no talent over there. There's no talent there. There's no talent over there. Within the first week, that was a lie.
We talk about it all the time. Vienna football feeds into here and feeds into Madison. There's talent coming here.
There's talent here. And the coaches that have been here have been able to do very well with the talent. I mean, between
Pete Bandorf,
I know Yusuf.
my time.
Yeah, I know Yusuf didn't necessarily have the seasons that he wanted to, but I think it's Coach Crowley or
Riley.
Riley, yeah. He was very successful here. Pete, like you said, was very successful here.
Joe Thompson
was successful here. I mean, even in your first year here, you found a little bit of success. I mean, they went from I think like a 1-9 season to a 4-6 season, but not necessarily where you wanted to be. But you can tell that the culture of Oakton football.
Two of those losses, one of them was right out here against West Springfield. Kid made a 48-yard field goal as time expired.
Oh man!
Right.
Wow.
Right.
The very next week, we lose to Centerville to 7-0.
Wow.
Ask me how they got 7.
How'd they get 7?
Pick 6.
Oh yeah.
Oh my!
Yeah.
That was the first time in my life that I've ever seen a shutout and you lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was brutal. So if you take those two out of if you take those and give us a swing,
You're 600 or you're 500.
we're 6-4.
6-4.
Oh, 6-4. That's
6-4.
right. That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that last game against Chantilly doesn't matter. We're already in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and just, again, trying to change the culture and things like that. I think that last game, and not even just that game, the Centerville game too played a part in we've never been here before.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of like the Centerville game for us, I felt like because before this past season, they haven't won a district game in like 7-8 years. So it was, we're going to win a district game this year.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think it's kind of my fault. Maybe I made too much of a deal of it. Let's go win our first district game. You know what I mean? All week, that was the message. And I think it kind of made the kids play a little tight.
Yeah.
So by the time our next district game came against South Lakes, I made it a point. We're not talking about it. Don't talk about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they were able to not be so tight and they were able to play loose. But again, going into the Chantilly game, we're both 4 and 5. Winner goes in. You know what I mean? They've never been in that position. Sure. Even all the close games that we had this year, they've never been in those positions in their high school career. So I think just being in a lot of close ball games last year, you're going to really see a difference with a more mature team coming up. And not to mention, played 20 sophomores last year.
Oh, yeah. That's
how many seniors to ratio to younger kids?
Our JV team was rough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you play 20 sophomores, there's going to be a team that's going to suffer because of that.
And that's the JV team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So our JV team was rough because we got all these sophomores, you know?
Yeah.
So fortunately, we had a pretty good big freshman class. And now those 20 sophomores are now going to be 20 juniors.
Yeah, and your puppies are now dogs now.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, and so I think there's a consistent message for a lot of first-year head coaches that we're hearing.
Yep.
And that's the first year you learn how to compete. Mm-hmm. The second year you really learn, and towards the end of that season you're learning how to win. And then the second year you kind of you clamp it in and you're locking in. And
also, just for me, I felt like I stole this from a college professor. So sometimes you'll have the right people on the bus, but they might not be in the right seat.
Huh.
You know what I mean? So and that's kind of something I learned with the guys on staff last year. I had to do some reshuffling. It's like, maybe you're not in the right seat. Let's put you in the right seat so that you can be more and you can give more. You know what I mean? And then bringing on other people as well and making sure that the seat that I've now created for them is right for that person.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and that's a big thing too, is I feel like when you first year get a head job, you want to do everything, right? You want to be in charge of everything. You want to call everything and this, that, and the other. And I think that you got to make sure that, one, you got the right assistants, your staff, hell, even your team parents, your team moms and things like that. But also making sure everybody's in the right seat.
Right.
That whatever role that they have, they can flourish in that role. They can take charge and leadership of that role. You know what I mean? And then, unfortunately, you are going to have to micromanage a little bit, you know, to make sure that they are doing their job. And, and they show you that you don't have to. You know what I mean? Kind of like just us as kids growing up. You know, as we got older, our parents gave us a little bit more and more as we got older because of maturity, because we showed them, hey, I do know, when I go to school, I know how to act.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yes, you can go sleep over your friend's house. You know what I mean? And I think the same thing, kind of the same concept with your assistants is, yeah, you're going to have to kind of watch over them. But once you know that, hey, they're staying true to the standard that I'm trying to set and they're staying true to the message I'm trying to set, I'll let you do your thing. I'm not going to be down your back and this, that, and the other. You know what I mean?
Sure.
On Sundays when we have our meetings, well, I'm going to ask you the questions, and if I like the answers, all right, cool.
Yeah. And the great thing is you played at a high level, so the X's and O's are already, you already got the X's and O's, right? Now it's about.
But I always tell my guys, though, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Right.
You know, just because the way I know how to do it, you might know it a different way.
Sure.
Or you might have a different verbiage.
Right.
That might be a little bit more simpler for the kids to understand and things like that. So,
conceptually, right? Because sometimes I agree. Because sometimes when your knowledge of the game is so vast, you tend to overteach, or you know, you tend to move away from simplifying things for these kids so they can just play.
That's
fast.
why I love having teachers as coaches.
Yeah.
Which is not. It's very rare now. It's getting more and more rare each
Is it?
year. Teachers been
because I know before it used to be you had to work for the high school, right?
That's not a thing.
Less and
anymore.
less now.
You know what I mean? It's less and less having teachers that are in the building.
Really?
You know, and you know, before I was a like actual teacher and not just being a TA, some of that stuff when people said that, it kind of went in one ear and out the other. But I'll never forget the very first in-service that I went to as a teacher. Sitting there, school hadn't started yet, and you got all the teachers in there learning something for, you got a whole day that you got to sit there and just take different kind of lectures and things like that. And I'll never forget the lady up there speaking, as she's talking, I'm like, I use that in football.
Right.
I use those techniques in football. And just so it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then like, even as me being a teacher, I felt like my coaching has gotten better.
Right.
Because now I'm going to use some educational words for you. I'm scaffolding my coaching. You know what I mean? And I think you said it earlier when we were talking about academics. Everybody learns differently, right? So I might have a kid that I can go over here to this whiteboard and I can write it out one time. We go out to the field and he can get it right.
Sure.
But that's not going to be everybody.
No.
Or even if I just go out there and just say, hey, now this is how we do it on the field, right? And just say, you should take 2 steps just to your left and then go down, right? And they still might not do it right. You might need somebody to demonstrate it for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it just depends on who that kid is and how do they learn and things like that. And that's also some things that you get to know being in the building is, you know, who has an IEP? You know what I mean? Who has those type of things? I did have a kid come and tell me, was like, look, coach, my ADD is kind of bad. There's sometimes on the field, I just can't control it. My mind just goes. You know what I mean? But it's like, hey, like, okay, now that you're
Thank you for
telling me
being
that,
honest.
right?
Yeah.
Nice
But
to
honestly, when he told me that, like, it was like, all right, this is what we're going to do to make sure that this kid gets it.
Right.
You know what I mean? To make sure that he doesn't, because a lot of times a kid, you say, does everybody get it? Uh-huh.
Yep.
That was us growing
You know
up
what I
because we
mean?
were scared of the rep back of saying no and then getting yelled at for not paying attention.
Well, it's the herd mentality too. If everybody else gets it, you don't want to be the asshole who does
Exactly.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I tell my kids all the time too, though. If you don't, please tell me now. I'd rather you mess it up on Monday, Tuesday than Friday.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
So it's just like I always try to make. I don't want them to be afraid, like you said, and that's just kind of how we grew up, where it was almost like a dictatorship. You know, and
It wasn't almost, it was.
so it's just one of those things that making sure that those kids feel safe to be able to say, actually, coach, I don't get it.
Right.
So like, okay, and then you got to think as a coach, what verbiage did I use that time? The previous time, can I change it? Or do I need to tailor it a little bit to what his IEP is in the building?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like if some of these kids who get extended time for tests or they have somebody that's giving them a read aloud and things like that, you know, you got to take that into consideration as you're out there coaching these kids. Even if it's something like an emotional thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Taking that in consideration.
For us people, because you both are in education who might not be in education, can we get a breakdown of IEP?
Individual educational plan.
Okay.
Yeah. So anybody who has like a learning disability or anybody who, you know, they have a spectrum of what they call IEPs in order to handle your learning process, right? Whether it be giving you different test taking times, whether it be making your classroom smaller. But to Coach's point, socioemotionally and cognitively, your approach to teaching the game has to be also different, just like their approach to
Teaching in the classroom.
Teaching in the classroom has to be different.
I just need to know what the verbiage was. I know you guys are both in education, so like you already got it, and I'm over here like,
What does that mean?
IEP, what is that?
Is
that a blitz?
Is that a special play on defense?
It's a play call.
Like, what are you doing?
But that's
It's a
very
trick play.
it's very interesting because I feel like a lot of high school sports is developed in with relationships, right? And if you're not in the school, to your point, how are you developing the relationships with these kids? The reason I wanted to run through the wall for a lot of my coaches in high school is because I had to see these motherfuckers
Every day.
you know, and like I didn't want to let them down on Friday to see their face on Monday, and you could always tell by that handshake, that original hit, like how upset they were of your performance, or just like how they treated you. So mentally, it would drive you to want to be better every single day.
Or them just asking you during the day, how's your brother? How's your mom?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got a girlfriend?
Oh, he
Just
cares,
like,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, he cares, right? And then you can use some of those references on the field. Act like I'm Gina.
My goodness, they would throw everything at you, man.
But you see him like holding hands with somebody in the hallway. He's like, I'm getting on with him
I'm
later.
gonna get him right.
So most of our coaches were majority security guards.
Yeah, security.
But we had a couple sprinkled in classrooms, and of course, head coach Skinner was our weight training coach.
Yep.
So there was no escape.
There was no escape.
Our coaching staff.
And all those coaches coached other sports.
Right. Yeah.
So like if you weren't doing anything in the winter or the spring, it was like you're doing
come play
something in
basketball, come wrestle.
Yeah, you're
Come
doing
wrestle,
something in
come
the
run
winter or the
track,
spring.
come play baseball.
Yeah. So you I mean, you guys had a pretty good turnaround this past year. Not like I said, not where you guys wanted, but the games that you were getting blown out in were closer.
Yep.
Right? And the games that you normally wouldn't be competitive in, you're competing in. And then the games you probably a couple of games that you shouldn't have won that you actually, that you pulled it out and people are like,
Fairfax, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
We should have won that
The
game.
hell is going on here? Right. What are some of the initial things that you changed to change the culture in the program?
Good question.
It's about the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm not saying this to try to take a knock at the guy that was here before me, but there wasn't an off-season program. There wasn't like when season was over, it was, all right, I'll see you in the summer.
Wow.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
That's not how you grew up. That's not how you
Exactly.
grew up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that just the changing of the energy. One of the big things too was as I was, I get the job, I'm starting to watch film and breaking it down, and I'm watching Huddle. You know how you can put a little notes and things like that, and seeing the notes that was in there, basically kids getting cursed out in Huddle, where everybody can see it.
Oh.
And I'm like thinking to myself, you know what I mean? So it's like you
I don't
gotta
want to play for you at that point. I'm not going to give you my effort. I'm tapped out because you're
Exactly.
going to call me out. I understand
calling
calling me out during
in
films.
person. Exactly.
We're in a group setting.
When we're with family.
Right. We're sitting with our teammates, and I just messed up on the field, and you're calling me out. Now you're putting this on my personal Huddle page.
Yes.
Who else is seeing this?
Exactly.
Like, why do I want to show up and do anything for you? Like, I'm tapping out.
I'm going to Madison.
It just got so bad.
I'm going to Madison.
Like trying to get through the first couple of games, because it wouldn't just be like one note. It'd just be like 8 different notes on one clip.
That's wild.
So it honestly,
so wild.
it took me like 4 hours just to go in there and delete every note. Because like I'm not looking at this anymore.
And that's not how you break down film.
No.
Yeah.
No, or how I operate. Like you said, if I'm going to get on a kid, I'm going to get on him in person.
Right.
Then we're going to go on the board. And then the next time we get on the practice, we're going to go over it again.
And if you're
You know
going to
what I
leave
mean?
a note in Huddle, it's going to be a positive, hey, that was a great this, that, or the other. Whatever. Right? I'm not going to put negative stuff on there.
And
And even if it is a negative, I'm not going to.
Make
These
them.
kids were basically getting MF'd.
Yeah. I mean, like, and like when you get graded on film, it's alignment, assignment, technique, and did you execute, right? And effort. And so, like, if you're outside of the scope of that when you're analyzing these kids'
What are you
film,
doing?
what are you doing? Right?
And I'm big. I think there's a huge difference between coaching hard and just being a dick.
Yeah,
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can coach hard without MFing a kid.
You can.
Absolutely.
You know, and
You can.
So I just feel like you got to find that balance.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was at, was finding that balance of how do I get these kids to understand that you are going to have to earn this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I am going to coach you hard, but you can't take that personal.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's just one of those, and trust me, that part took a long time to just kind of get through them of, hey, don't take this personal.
Right.
I said, you should take it personal when I don't yell at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you should be afraid and things like that. So, and then another big thing that I always kind of try to put in my kids' minds is, sports is where socioeconomics is supposed to stop mattering. It's not about where you're from, how much money you got, what are your resources. It's about the work.
Right.
Are you going to put the time into it? And again, that goes back, and I get that from Mickey, the Ashburn way. You know what I mean?
Get out of your Fairfax way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like when we go play against somebody else, all right. So one of our games is this year is Colonial Forge. right?
Good team. Good program.
That's gonna be a game.
Solid program.
And we're going down there to play 'em.
Oh, that's a tough place
You know
to
what I
play.
mean? So, and part of the reason why I wanted that was to take these kids outside of Fairfax.
Look how somebody
to
else
go
is doing
play.
it.
Exactly.
Yep.
And we did that this year with 7-on-7.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just kind of reiterating. Side note, these boys from Pittsburgh, I'm so glad we played them. Because when we came home, there was a different group.
Yeah.
Because they saw.
Yeah.
It was like,
Oh, this is elite right here. Yeah.
But no, I just keep trying to put in their minds that, hey, look, when we step on that field, who your parents are doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. How much money your parents may or might not have doesn't matter. What matters is how you prepared. Did you put the work in? You know what I mean? And not only, and again, I also tell them, just because you came to lift today doesn't make you special either. Because Madison worked out today.
Yep.
South Lakes worked out today.
That's a given.
Chantilly worked out today.
Given.
You know
It's
what I
a
mean?
given.
Everybody's working out today.
Yep.
But are you doing yours? How are you working out?
Right.
Are
Are
you
you
making
being
sure you
exceptional?
get every rep in?
Right.
Are you picking up your teammates?
Yep.
You know, how are you preparing yourself? Because again, everybody did that today. You know, so just trying to keep those things in perspective for my kids, and that's kind of, I really do think that's the biggest thing to that kind of that why the energy has changed.
You have to, right? You have to say, hey guys, I came from a traditional powerhouse in Virginia. I've coached at traditional powerhouses in Virginia. I've competed against traditional powerhouses in Virginia. Here's the given. They all weightlift.
Exactly.
Okay. They all get bigger, faster, stronger in the off season. They all understand that you're either getting better or worse, but you're never staying the same. Right? They understand what it takes to compete at a high level, what it means to win at a high level. And here are all the things that they do. And if we're not doing these things, then we're falling short of what we set as our goals as a team.
Yep.
And I think it takes a special coach to deliver that message and then to have the kids buy in, because you guys, the program has been going through some pretty hard times.
Be
You
honest,
know,
it's
and-
hard times, Daddy.
Yeah, and it's it's kind of like how I feel about our alma mater. Is like we're going through some hard times too. And do I love them? Absolutely. Do I want them to succeed? Absolutely. Do I know that there are things that traditionally we've done that have been implemented in our program? Are there things that have been done that aren't being done right now? Is there processes that have been done but aren't being done now?
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. And do I feel like those are affecting our wins? Yes. And so for you to understand a lot of what it takes to win, because you've seen success, you've been through success, to make it applicable is one thing. To have the kids buy into it is a completely different thing. I mean,
And for me, it's like when you said everyone learns different. You're not just talking about the kids, you're talking about coaches.
Right.
The fact that you're willing to assess your coaches and then move them around and say, hey, like, maybe this is a better fit for you, and you're going to take over and you're going to blow, and these kids are going to boom with you. Everything that you're talking about is going together as to why the culture here is changing.
right.
Oakton was never, and we joked with Josh Richards when we sat down with him, because Herndon to us was like, like growing up, we were like, oh yeah, great, we're playing Herndon, that's a win. We never came to Oakton with that mentality growing up.
Correct.
And what's funny, you say that.
Pete Bendorf was ready. Like, we knew we're in a fight every time we played Oakton.
Yep.
And even when we were freshmen, they had a dude, J.D. Ziegler, was that the name? Oh my God, this dude had the big neck roll linebacker, but this boy came to play. And so it's like seeing what you're doing, it like for us being not just Centerville guys, not just Northern Virginia, but Concord District guys, because Oakton was in the Concord. I'm not sure if you still are.
Yeah.
You are? Okay. It's nice to see the team starting to come back up and uplift, and having a coach like you who understands, like, hey, this is what I have to do to make it work, and then seeing year one and we're excited for year 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Coach, we gotta come see you in person this year.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come see it.
We gotta come see
game.
you in person.
Like I'm gonna steal this one from Mickey. We'll be 500.
Okay.
That's so Mickey, though.
That's so Mickey. We'll be 500.
We'll be 500.
We'll be
And
500.
then rips out 12 wins.
What have you done to kind of, because you're only as good as the guys that are coming in. What have you done to establish a relationship or a rapport with the community? A lot of the guys, a lot of the guys that we're talking to that are first year guys, second year guys, they are heavy into like, I went to our youth program and I told them what was up.
So it's funny you say that. The very first thing I did, at the time we had, I don't know why we had them, but we had like 20-something youth shoulder pads. And they were like plastic, you know what I mean? Like those plastic youth pads. And I'm like, why do we have these?
The ones that cracked a little bit, you know? Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I donated those to VYI.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So that was one of the first things that I did to kind of establish that relationship.
Okay.
You know, and then also here kind of we get kids from VYI, CYA, and SYA.
Okay.
So we get a little bit of mix. So I made sure, obviously, our home base is VYI. That's the home base.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I wanted to make sure that relationship was really intact. You know what I mean? So they have went to a couple of their little coaches meetings and things like that. I actually did a coaches clinic for them this year. I was out there at their youth camp last year.
Love that.
Came to some games, things like that, and just kind of creating that relationship with those guys. And
Got to, man.
trying to, in a way, and it's nothing against the other programs. I just don't like that my kids are so spread out between 3 different
Youth
programs.
leagues.
You know what I
But
mean?
your
So
point is VY.
exactly. So we're trying to, and I got with some parents, some parents who were like in the know and cool with all the VYI guys, and we're trying to essentially funnel our kids there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of it's VY. Let's call it what it is. It's probably them and Gainesville are probably the best 2 well-ran youth leagues in Northern Virginia. Probably.
I can attest that I'm a Bristol guy. Like I live out in Bristol, and that's one thing about Gainesville is they're going to put out puppies. They're going to put out some puppies into the battlefield, into Patriot, into Gainesville.
And I just found out some of the Gainesville coaches are guys that I actually played with, like my age and younger than me. Kevin Folio's out there coaching.
Yep.
Right. I found out Chris Dorman's out there coaching.
Yep.
Right. So it's like, and then there's another program, DYS, Dulles Youth Sports.
Yep.
Those guys over there are all ex-Centerville guys that I
Yep.
played with. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, all right, I know these kids at DYS and I know Gainesville are going to be coached and coached properly.
Yeah.
So when they get to someone like you, you're not saying, all right, this is a reach step.
Exactly.
This is the cadence. Like, they're going to know all that stuff already. So it's just going to be, all right, now we're in install mode.
And that's
Yeah.
the biggest difference between like places like here, Madison versus a McLean.
Yeah.
McLean, that's not much anymore.
No.
Yeah.
They have like one team. You'd be lucky to get one team for each age group.
Soccer's big out there, though.
Yeah, soccer's huge.
So
huge out
like
there.
a McLean, schools like McLean, Marshall,
Langley.
like Langley, those kids when they get the freshman year, let's say they have a freshman team that's 30 kids. Out of that 30, you get 6. That's a high year. 6 have played football before.
That's wild. That
know
is
what I
so
mean?
wild, bro.
Even at Kent was like that before. What's it called? Really got
DYS.
got going.
Yep.
Because and that's just and I Jason Dawson used to talk about that all the time. When you don't have the best youth program, the feeder, you should expect the freshman class to get good by their senior year. Because now they're
starting to understand the game. of football.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's so true, man. I would love to see Fairfax, Loudoun, and Prince William get together and say, what do we have to do to get these middle schools to have athletic programs?
Oh, my goodness.
What do we have to do? Do we have to get our freshman coaches to scale back and start coaching those 7th and 8th grade teams? Like, what does it look like when we start to invest in our 7th and 8th grade programs? Maybe a little bit comes from the youth and a little bit comes from the high school.
That's a good idea. You cut freshman football out of high school and you focus it in on the 7th and 8th graders.
Sure.
Right? That way, when you get to high school, it's JV and varsity.
Right, right.
And then, for a coach like you,
You gonna
know,
get some mom
down
who's
the
a
road.
junior mom is like, why can't my son play? Yeah. You're gonna get one of them.
Exactly.
But that's standard, right? It's going to happen.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. But no, you're good. I just feel like we do a lot of things in Northern Virginia that prevents us from being great.
Right.
Given the greatness we already have. And one of the common things that I'm constantly hearing from coaches is like, we're good, but we could be better.
It could be better.
Right. And I come from areas that I've seen better. I grew up in areas that are better, and here's why they're successful. We have a lot of good pedigree, like on when we sit down and talk to you guys, and you guys have a lot of great ideas. And I think it's phenomenal that you try to establish a relationship with the youth programs. You got to because
there's no way you're going to survive without it.
Yeah, because I mean, even though
especially for us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sharing kids with Madison.
Yeah, it's tough, right? I got to. and that's the thing. Like the even though Fairfax has a very stringent transfer rule in the county. These parents are affluent enough to pick up and go wherever they want. Right. And so, like, last week we had a podcast and we made a joke that the renters are where most of the athletes come from, right? When
it's the apartments.
Yeah, it's the apartments.
Apartments.
Where are the apartments at, man?
Yeah, we made a joke pulling up. We were like, that's the people where the athletes live.
Look, we pulled up next to a neighborhood. I was like, oh, okay, all these big houses. I was like, that must be where all the athletes are.
That's what I find, like, where you got to give Battlefield a really good credit. Because there is none.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Johnny Champ, there is no apartments.
There is no apartments. That's what it was. It was Carter. Carter was like, man, where my apartments at? Where my Section 8 housing?
He said that.
He did.
Like, I'm going to tell you all a joke, or something. Not a joke, but something I heard that's coming on 50 that I was like, oh. That goes along with that, but I ain't gonna put that out there.
You know off camera.
But to your point, Battlefield, those guys out there, they have not only a great feeder program, but they also have parents who understand how competitive that's the culture out there.
It is.
It's not just the buy-in from the kids, it's the buy-in from the parents as well. Because you go to a playoff game where it's Battlefield versus Patriot. I mean, there are 8,000 kids people there.
We were there and it was
jam packed. It was jam packed.
I used to live
around
over there.
like this is what
I used to live out
to.
in what's it called, in that area out there, and I'll never forget the sheets that's on what's that road? I can't remember, but the boys, the boys from Battlefield, man, they'd be in there after the games, and I would feel small.
Yeah,
and I'm not a small person. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, hey, you in high school?
They got some meaty guys out there, some beef.
Well, to your point, like a lot of the guys that come from high pedigree. Traditional powerhouse schools in Virginia, they're all having kids, and that's where they're moving to. They're moving to the outskirts of the outskirts, right?
That's our class.
That's our class.
Like,
exactly.
Our age, we're all going to. I'm on my way out there next. Like, I'm about to be neighbors with you probably in a year.
Maybe
or two.
Culpeper will be next, right? Like the Culpeper area.
No. I went down there recently, bro. I'm not traveling to Culpeper. That's a little too much. I think Gainesville, Haymarket sounds good to me.
So we want to be 500 this year. Any other like big aspirations or aspirations in general, team goals that you guys have for this year?
Again, we're gonna be 500.
Yeah,
we're gonna be 500.
What are some games, man, that we feel like we can come out to, man? I'd love to circle them.
Definitely. It's gonna be in Stafford. That Colonial Forge game. That's gonna be a big one for us.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to some of these other programs. Our first three, I feel like, they're favorable matchups for us. You know, there's some games
Who are
that
your first three?
We should be pretty good in. Edison. We start off with Edison. It goes Edison, Justice, Woodson, and then Colonial Forge.
Okay.
Thank you, because I saw your schedule today, and I didn't know one of the logos. I was like, I don't know what high school this is. Like, I'm confused.
And then after that, we'll go Langley. We'll have a bye. We'll have Langley, and then we got the Concord District.
That still blows my mind when you just said bye in high school. We didn't know what a bye was. We played 14 weeks straight to get to the state championship. There was no bye. It was just play.
So when I was in high school,
you guys had a bye every year, first week of the playoffs.
Yeah, we've been out in Stonebridge. You know what the first week of the playoffs is? That's a bye week. Call it a game, but it's a bye week.
My senior year, we played TJ the first round. We beat them 2 weeks prior to that, 70-7. When I say it was probably hands down, it was probably my worst game I've ever played in my life, because it was like, how do I get up for this? You know what I mean? We just beat this team 70-7. And now we're about to play them in the playoffs. They're not going to cover 60-something points tonight. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? But Mickey's whole thing about the bye week was he always tried to get week one bye. So now he can just play straight.
That makes sense.
Straight through, you know? I will say this though, like last year, the bye week actually helped us.
Yeah.
And then we came off 2 tough losses with the West Springfield and Centerville, and we were able to kind of regroup ourselves in that bye week to kind of, all right, I know this is tough. Those 2 games were tough, but 2 things. One, a year ago, were they that close? Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and then it was like, but let's not get to, oh, it's the same thing over. Here we go again. You know what I mean? Let's not get in that mindset.
Let's pause.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it was a good. I enjoyed having. I actually, now that I say it, I really like having that like mid-year bye.
Mental break, physical break.
I mean, if you being honest, we probably could have benefited from it because we had guys banged up and we're asking them to play every single week.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. I just it's weird because we didn't have it growing up, like
Exactly.
specifically my class. But I see the purpose and the need for it, even all the way to the top level of football. There's a reason they get
should get
buys,
2.
right?
In
They
the
should
NFL,
get
they
2.
should get 2.
They should get 2. I agree.
And they can make more money because they can extend the season off because you got 2 buys.
They wanted 18 games. Just give them an extra bye week and keep it at 17, right? But to your point, like it gives you time to heal your guys, and the losses, you said it wasn't close like that last year. Now these kids are seeing growth.
Exactly.
So now they're seeing themselves getting better. So now coming this year, they're going to be like, we ain't losing that game. We were 4 and 5 going into Chantilly. They were 4 and 5. Like, we know what that experience is like. We know how to come over that hump.
Exactly.
So you're going to
Win
be
those
able
close
to
games.
build on those close games. You're going to be able to build on the close games that you won and the close games that you lost. Right. And then you'll have an outlier that you're like, yeah, gotcha.
Exactly.
Right?
That's right.
And not only just that, they felt successful.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They now
You need
believe
that.
in themselves.
The mentality
Yep.
change.
And how much motivation does that give you going into the off season, knowing that you're one of the 20 sophomores that played at the varsity level? All my guys are coming back, and we have a whole off season to get better. You know, and you're gonna be walking with a little bit of a different swagger going into those. You know, going into camp next year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those kids, like, especially that sophomore group that we have, they're going to be juniors this year. They're a really close-knit group. But not only that, but, like, I want to say it was 2 weeks after the Chantilly game. My plan was to start off-season training in January. Everybody take the time, recover, go, you know, if you're playing another sport, go try out for basketball, go try out for wrestling, this, that, and the other, right? 2 weeks after that season was over, them kids was at my office banging on the door. Coach, when we starting off season work?
Let's fucking go.
That's
what I mean?
Oh my
So it got to a point that
Drew, we
the
gotta go to the game
demand,
this year.
the demand for them to want to do it was there. So I was like, all right, let's go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
So we end up getting started in mid-December. Oh, right before the first week of December, we were back in here
Like
working
right
out.
after
You
Thanksgiving
have
break.
just changed everything in your program.
Yeah.
That comment alone, the buy-in is there. It's now going to trickle down to the
Season's
next
still
class,
happening
the
at
next
that point.
class.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The season's still happening at that point. There are
Right.
people playing in the regional
exactly.
finals
Right.
and the semi-state finals. You guys are
We were
playing
in
it
here
and banging.
getting it done.
Yeah, I love that.
That's going to trickle down, and it's going to keep, and that's how you build a program.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. And last question, unless you got more, B. I
you
just
know us, we keep going.
What's the major emphasis for this offseason?
Yes.
Discipline and consistency. When I say there was a lot of times it's stupid discipline. I think every game within the first 5 plays, we either had a penalty or a turnover.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And not only that, but continuing on to that was, I think every game, just about every game, we had a touchdown that took off the board because of a stupid pre-snap alignment, or you can't offensive lineman not getting in their stance and getting their hand down soon enough, and we're motioning. That's a penalty.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That happened. I can think 5 times we had a touchdown that came off the board
Illegal
because
shift.
of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and that's just here. I tell my kids all the time, pre-snap penalties is in between the ears. I can handle post-snap penalties. If you get a face mask, a holding, something like that. But when I say we got a penalty within the first 5 plays, it was we jump off sides. Illegal procedure. You know what I mean? False start. There was time. So the West Potomac game, we started off with a legal procedure, and that play, first down, comes back 5 yards. The next play call we're in a trips bunch set, right? And our kids go line up off the end man line of scrimmage. They line up like 7 yards off. I called timeout, and I was like, when have we done that? Every time we've gone trips bunch, you've been attached on the line of scrimmage. Why did you all three go over there? You know, I can see if it was one or two that went over there, but it was all three of those receivers that ran out there. And actually, before that happened, receiver jumped off sides. False start.
Right.
So we had a legal procedure penalty. We had a false start, and then we lined up wrong.
So we're self-implosive, and we're still in these games.
So I called
Right.
timeout.
Yeah.
Let them have it. You know what I mean? So but that's my point, though.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you play 20 sophomores.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I kind of knew that was going to be the case, but how do we grow out of that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And my biggest thing to my kids, and I tell them this almost every day, be good at the things that take no talent. Let's be great at that. If it's our thing to not stand on the line, to stand behind the line, be great at not standing on the line. You know what I mean? If we're telling you to, hey, cheer on your teammates, be great at that. What type of talent does it take to not stand behind the line?
Right.
What type of talent does it take to cheer each other on and pick each other up and do the simple things?
Right.
You know, taking care of ourselves, our spaces. You know, I got on my guys last week about just throwing their Gatorade cups on the ground. It's like, guys, we go to other schools, and the first thing I say is, we're going to leave this place better than we found it. Why are you going to do that here? Why are you just going to throw your cup on the ground and when where you had to go, you walk past the trash can?
Sure.
You know what I mean? So taking care of those little things.
Pride.
It's the little things.
Exactly.
And that's the life lesson, right? That's the life lesson. You know, it all translates. I always say that. It all translates to trust. It all translates to life. If I can't trust you to do the little things off the football field, then how can I trust you on 4th and 1 when the game is on the line and I need this first down, and how do I trust you enough not to jump off sides, right? And it's the little things in life too, right? The little things in life.
Putting the shopping cart back.
Yep, putting the shopping cart back, right?
Like, how hard is it? It is mine too. And I think it's his as well.
Yeah.
How hard is it to just put your shopping cart back?
Yep. Or even being a good husband or being a good father. The little things matter, right? The being proactive and not reactive matter, right? So if we're taking the care of the things that we need to take care of, you know, beforehand or proactively and getting ahead of it and being mentally right so we can do the physical stuff right, then all that stuff is going to translate onto the field of performance. And I think it goes hand in hand. And what I always say when we ever have a guy like this on the podcast is you always see the programs that are successful or that are turning around, they all have the same mentality. You guys are doing the football thing, but really it's the life thing.
Exactly. Like I said, using football as the vehicle.
That's right. That's right. And that's one thing that stood out to me in this conversation.
Same.
Is like there's a recipe for this.
There's a blueprint.
There's a blueprint for it. Right. And it's no coincidence that the guys that came from the blueprint are trying to implement the blueprint, and the guys that are implementing the blueprint are seeing success in their program. Right. And it's instant success. Do we want to be 4-6? No. Right. But you guys were probably arguably one of the best 4-6 teams out there.
I like to think so.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And I'm pretty sure you're going to come back a little hungrier and a little nastier.
They're coming back.
Come back 500.
Yeah, 500.
They're coming back hungry. The kids is knocking at the door 2 weeks after the season.
Well, all right, Coach. Well, I appreciate you having us come out here today, and
Thank you so
you
much.
taking the Friday out. It's obviously important to you. It's important to your program. I hope that the people listening to this get even more juiced up about your season. I hope the community rallies around you. Anytime that Oakton is good, the Northern Virginia football is good, right? And I wish you the best. I wish for you guys to have it's not going to be injury free, but I hope you guys come out healthy, right? And I hope those sophomores, man. I hope those puppies really ball out this year, man. I'm really excited to watch you guys play.
I haven't been to an Oakton game in
years.
So it'd be nice.
Come on out.
Yeah,
Come
man.
check us out.
We'd love to. We'd love to have you on back again.
Yes.
Maybe with some couple other guys so we can shoot the shit even more. Maybe halfway
Like
through the
you and they
season.
put you and Coach Jones next to each
There you
other.
go. There you go.
Come in here mid-season during your bye week.
You
Right?
got some new colors now.
Well, you noticed during our interview with him, he
had
was already
the
wearing your
yeah.
colors. He made sure he did that on purpose.
That's so funny. But anyways, Coach, I appreciate you coming out.
sir. I appreciate
Thank
y'all
you
having
for
me.
having
Thank
us,
you,
man.
sir.
And why don't you go ahead and plug people into your socials so they know how to follow you, where to find you.
So my just on Twitter is just Coach Slay. I think it's Coach in a space Slay, and then also make sure you follow the Oakton football, and it's just Oakton football for both Twitter and Instagram.
Oakton football. Okay. Brent.
Guys, tap in. You know what it is. It's Dark Visors, at Dark Visors, www.darkvisors.com. For your any media needs you have, hit us up for video, hit us up for photography, and make sure you guys go ahead and tap into the levels, which my man Andrew is going to tell you about.
All right, guys. So if you're looking for a new recruiting platform that's going to help you get to the next level and help you connect with coaches at the next level or developmental personnel in the community, go ahead and tap into your Apple Store and your Droid Store and download Levels Recruiting. You can also follow us on all social media platforms at LevelsApp.ai. You can also go to our website at LevelsApp.ai as well. It's a new recruiting platform. We're about to get 50 college coaches on there, and imagine using us as a vehicle to create a profile, create highlights, and be able to be captured in this net that's brought to 50 different Division I coaches or D1 AA coaches, really trying to use this as a way to get the Northern Virginia kids and kids all over the country exposed to the next level, educate you, and make sure you get the exposure that you need. So go ahead and tap into your Apple Store and download Levels Recruiting. Appreciate everybody coming out tonight.
Thank y'all so much.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
How'd you like that one?